Sally Thompson claims her beloved sculpture was broken by her neighbor who had too much to drink at her art show. Caroline Beck says she only finished one drink and has already repaired the sculpture.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello, Sean. Thank you. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Thompson versus Beck. Ms. Thompson, you are suing Ms. Beck for $475 for breaking your sculpture. Is that correct?
That is correct.
The defendant, Ms. Beck, says it was an accident and you actually tried to fix it.
I did. I repaired it and returned it.
Oh, all right. Well, let me hear what the issue is. Ms. Thompson, why are you suing Ms. Beck for $475?
Well, this is a very precious statue. It's one of a kind. It can't be replaced. I know the artist personally. I had a little art show at my house, which I do once in a while, and in my neighborhood. I thought I would give her an opportunity to attend.
How do you know Ms. Beck?
She's my next door neighbor, but she isn't actually very social. I know all my neighbors in my neighborhood. I've really never had the opportunity to spend any time with her.
So this was a good opportunity.
Exactly.
To invite her over while others were there. Mm-hmm. All right. How does it get broken?
Okay, to kind of paint a picture, I have a really large home, and it has a very large foyer. In fact, I do have a diagram showing my home
I'd like to see
entryway.
it.
Okay.
Be careful of that statue, Sean.
Yes.
You bringing me that
Please
evidence.
do.
I don't want to get sued.
Okay, you don't want to be up here next week.
So as I was saying, unless you need a moment to review it.
I'm looking at it right now.
Very large foyer. It's almost as large as this room here. My kitchen is off to the left, and my living room off to the right. I had a bar centrally located between the two, and I had art pieces around the foyer.
Okay.
Okay. So the statue was placed, this statue here, on a pedestal that I purchased. It was a very expensive pedestal, very hardy, so that it wouldn't, it's not a flimsy, it was $800 itself. In fact, it was more valuable than this statue.
Oh.
Okay?
Okay.
Because the statue means a lot to me. I've personally known the artist since he was a child, and I wanted everyone else to be able to admire it, so I just kind of placed it centrally located there.
Wait, can you please approach the plasma and tell me where you have art and art, but was that just two tables of art, or was art going
art like hung on the wall? These are only there, the diagram, because they're placed on pedestals as well. So I had art on the wall, art on the wall, art on the wall, and then like the
statue is on the pedestal.
And the pedestal was even larger than the statue. So it wasn't just a tiny little.
Okay.
Okay.
And so how did it get broken? You can step back over to the podium.
Basically what happened is the party was actually going amazing. Everybody's enjoying themselves. They're going into the kitchen and having some hors d'oeuvres. They stop up at the bar. My neighbor here, that I don't know very well, she kind of hung out a lot right in front of the bar. So she was at the bar, I would say almost the entire night. And at some point during the evening, I just kind of felt like she was inebriated. And
how many drinks did you have, or did you drink it all, Ms. Beck?
I had one glass of wine, and that was it. I had just gotten a second glass. I hadn't even started it. One glass of wine.
Okay, so you had a glass of wine. You were hanging out at the bar. Why? It was kind of a central place, or you just felt more comfortable?
You know, as she pointed out, I'm not invited to a lot of events, so I was a little uncomfortable, and that was sort of the central place where people were gathering. And I was able to talk to a few people. Since I wasn't really a part of a group, I was just sort of talking to people as they came up.
Right, it's a stationary place where when people come, they have a moment while they're waiting on their drink. Usually people talk. That sounds normal. How does the statue get broken, Ms. Thompson?
Okay, so in my view of her just animated personality that, again, I don't know very well, I noticed that she was flailing around a lot as she spoke.
She doesn't seem to flail too much right now.
Well, it is maybe because she's not inebriated or intoxicated.
Oh, okay.
So a different type of personality perhaps came out, and I asked her, I pulled her aside, not to embarrass her, because I know she doesn't know anyone, and I told her she needed to tone it down.
coming up.
What is a flail?
Okay, like, I don't want to get too close to it and have it again, but it's sort of like, just, I don't know.
That doesn't seem like her personality at all.
Well, again, you're not seeing her with too many drinks.
And later,
But once I did arrive there, I came to find out that she actually gave away the ticket that she said she was going to give to me to somebody else.
we're back with a dispute between Sally Thompson and her neighbor Caroline Beck over a damaged sculpture.
You ask her to take it down a notch, and then what happens?
I want to say, like, within a few minutes, she made her way from the bar and just kind of flailed. It happened so fast.
What is a flail?
Okay, like, I don't want to get too close to it and have it again, but it's sort of like, just, I don't know.
That doesn't seem like her personality at all.
Well, again, you're not seeing her with too many drinks. But she was very animated, and she was using her hands a lot. Like, sometimes I can do that. I'm doing it right now. My husband.
I was about to say, now you
yeah,
you're
but I'm not
flailing a little bit more than her.
Yeah, I'm not flailing around hitting.
Right. So what happens? She does that, and then what happens?
Okay, so I went everywhere, and I just was in shock. We tried to pick up
So
the
wait,
pieces.
she hit the statue.
Right, and it broke onto the ground.
It falls, it breaks, pieces are everywhere. What happens?
Well, I just get on my hands and knees to try to pick up all the pieces and put them up on the table, and I'm just look at her like, I can't believe you did that.
And so, Ms. Beck, when you hit the statue, was it an accident, or was it because you were being irresponsible and flailing? What was going on?
At that point, I was walking with some people and looking at the art. And I was not flailing about, but I was talking to people, and I was trying maybe, to get in with some people who I don't know very well. So I might have been a little animated, but I was not flailing. And there were other people in there, and I guess I just accidentally bumped it, and it did fall off, and it broke. I want to say that it did not break, as you can see, into too many pieces. It was just like a couple of like basically a large piece. But I was embarrassed, I was mortified. So I picked them up and I said, let me take them home and I'll repair them. And
Or you're going to send it somewhere?
I said I was going to. It's a couple pieces. So I did, in fact.
I would have never let her take it if that was the case.
That's what I said.
The way that she represented it is just give me the opportunity to fix this and make it right.
And when she said, give me the opportunity to fix this, what did you say?
I said, I'll give you an opportunity, but I don't know how you're going to do that. I mean, again, I was in shock. I didn't think that it could be repaired, but I thought, well, maybe she'll contact the artist. She did meet him that night. Maybe they can work something out.
Did you contact the artist, Ms. Beck?
No, I did not.
Your choice was to take the pieces home and try to glue them back together
with
yourself?
super glue.
So you declined that offer, Ms. Thompson?
No.
You declined the offer for her to take it home.
I accepted the offer for her to take it home because she said that she was going to have it fixed. So I assumed she meant professionally, not super glued.
So then what happened?
So she brought it back to me the next day super glued. And she thought that was all right. I just looked at it, I go, no, this is not what we...
Ms. Beck, did you call any repair shops, places that specialize in repairing items like this to see how much it would cost to repair that?
No, I did not. But I did go to an art store and describe the material and picked up a special glue, not super glue. And I did glue it back together, and I think it looks pretty good.
I'd like to see it a little closer.
Okay,
Sean, can you bring me the statue carefully?
Very careful.
I would have never allowed it if I knew that she was going to take it and try to super glue it together.
That is what I said, except not super glue.
It's a cute little statue.
Thank you. He's a great artist.
Be careful now. Oh, I can see the crack. And so the $475 you're suing her for is the value
That's
of
the value.
The sculpture.
Yeah, I'm not charging her or trying to, get back the...
You're charging her the amount to replace it.
Exactly.
All right. I will say, for a person that doesn't fix art or, repair sculptures, you didn't do a terrible job with this super glue, but I do believe that a person who specializes in repairing these types of items could make, kind of the line and these definitive marks disappear as best they can. I do think under the circumstances, Ms. Beck, after you hit the item, you did immediately express regret and offer to fix it because you knocked it over. On the other hand, Ms. Thompson, I must say, if this is a prized possession of yours, I am not sure why it was on a pedestal in the middle of the floor at a party that easily could have been knocked off. So for that reason, I do not believe you're entitled to collect the full value of the statue. Okay. But I do believe that from this point where Ms. Beck has gotten it, you will be able to take it to someone to be able to kind of tighten up these crevices and make it look cleaner. Therefore, judgment for the plaintiff for $250.
Thank you.
Court
Your
is
Honor.
adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $250.
Well, I'm not happy that it's broken, but I am glad that this is resolved.
I apologize again, but we didn't have to be so dramatic.
Me dramatic? Maybe you should listen to yourself.
Let me lead you out, please.
Coming up,
What happens that you decide to give the ticket away?
When I got to San Diego, he wasn't responding. He did not respond to my call. I texted him twice asking him where he was. He was supposed to meet us at the hotel and he did not.
Jesse Carter claims he agreed to go to a concert with the defendant, but when he arrived, he found out she gave his ticket away. Fiona Bellinger says she thought he ghosted her, so she felt he could buy his own ticket.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Carter versus Bellinger. Mr. Carter, you are suing Ms. Bellinger for $1,017.50. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
These are expenses from a concert ticket. And the defendant, Ms. Bellinger, says you're not responsible for anything. All right, I want to know what happened. Start from the beginning, Ms. Carter. It was a concert?
Correct.
What kind of concert?
This was for a Pitbull concert down in San Diego.
All right.
We had originally made an agreement to go to this concert together, me, her, and her roommate, Haley. She had texted me asking if I would like a ticket. She had a spare ticket, and I agreed to that. And she was aware that I was going to be buying train tickets for my transport down to San Diego. I also bought a room for a hotel for myself, and I also took the day off of work because it was a Friday. And my train was a bit delayed, but once I did arrive there, I came to find out that she actually gave away the ticket that she said she was going to give to me to somebody else. And so I had to buy a resale ticket for $510.
What happens that you decide to give the ticket away?
When I got to San Diego, he wasn't responding. He did not respond to my call. I texted him twice asking him where he was. He was supposed to meet us at the hotel and he did not. So at the end of the night, Haley had told me, she was gonna buy a resale ticket, but I said, he has ghosted me, so why don't you just take the ticket and let's go in. If he responds to me, then we can tell him, we're already in, where are you? And he can buy his own ticket at that point. And that is what happened.
Coming up,
But until the ticket is received, right, the person giving the gift can always...
we're back with the case of Jesse Carter, who brought Fiona Bellinger to court over a concert ticket.
And so, Mr. Carter, while you're going through these delays on the train, you say you took the train.
Yes, I took the Amtrak.
You couldn't text Ms. Bellinger?
The place we
Call?
Right. The place that we had delayed at, we actually made a stop halfway down to San Diego, and I was not having any phone connection during that time. And by the time that it did reconnect, I was able to actually see her text. And I actually texted back letting her know.
Did you bring those text
I did,
messages?
yeah.
Let me see those, please.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so here's the invitation. So I see now from this text message exchange, Ms. Bellinger, you're saying, Jesse, where are you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, seriously, a response would be nice about right now.
Yes, that was when we were in the hotel waiting for him.
Then he did say the train's running late.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the deal. Did this text conversation create a legally binding agreement between the both of you? even if it did not. It was just you all talking on text. You want the ticket? Yeah. Now, technically, that could be a gift, right? That could be just like, I'm going to gift you this ticket, right? But until the ticket is received, right, the person giving the gift can always change their mind. Mm-hmm. Here's the twist. If Mr. Carter missed the whole concert because he didn't have a ticket and he didn't have any money to get in, he would have suffered significant damages because you gave away the ticket that he relied on himself having. But you went and bought a ticket.
Correct.
So, therefore, you almost remedied the problem by buying yourself a ticket.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
So it's the determination of this court is that your damages really are not your train ticket because you saw the concert.
Correct.
The damages are really that you should have had the free ticket because you did let her know you were running behind as soon as you possibly could. Unfortunately, she had already given the ticket away.
Correct.
But she knew that it was your intention to come. For this reason, I believe you owe Mr. Carter the value of the ticket. The train was not his fault. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Judgment for the plaintiff for $510. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $510.
Hope it was worth it.
Oh, it was.
Follow me this way. To your left.
Alex Orell claims his ex-girlfriend moved out suddenly, leaving him to pay her half of the bills. Brittany Gaines says she may have left him high and dry, but it's because he left her with an STI.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Hello, Your Honor.
Hello. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Orell versus Gaines. Mr. Orell, you are suing Ms. Gaines for $6,285 for lease payments. You say she owes you, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
And Ms. Gaines, you say the living situation was dysfunctional.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Orell, please explain.
Your Honor, we're here today because the defendant, my ex, Mrs. Gaines, and I, we shared an apartment. She kind of left me high and dry with the utilities and the bills after an agreement.
All right, so you agreed that she would pay what when she moved in?
It would be half of the rent and utilities, and that is actually something that I have evidence of.
Oh, I'd like to see that.
Okay.
So, Ms. Gaines, you said you'd pay half the rent and half the utilities?
Yes, Your Honor.
For how long?
For 6 months while I was residing with the plaintiff.
All right, I see the text exchange where it says, oh, yeah, I'd love to. I can help with rent and stuff. You say that. He says, great, we can just split rent and utilities 50-50. You agree? Perfect. Then what happens?
I start to get the sense that maybe he's cheating again. It actually all started with a Fitbit, Your Honor.
How did it start? A Fitbit started it?
Yes.
Explain.
He's a workout junkie, and he wanted me to work out more with him. So he decided that we should probably sync up our Fitbits so that we get live updates. And he said he would send me uplifting messages whenever I, was working out. But what he didn't mention is that he was also going to send disparaging messages when I wasn't. Your Honor, this was all an excuse for him to try and get me to lose weight.
That's how you see it.
So how do you see it, Mr. Orell?
I see it that we both obviously motivate one another like a partnership, and this would give us more of a insight on how the other person's doing, and it would do nothing but push one another. It's nothing about no control. So did it work? Did you get in shape?
I was seeing weird updates from his Fitbit. So at like 10 p.m. on a Saturday, he's supposed to be out with the boys playing poker or whatever, and I get a notification that he's working out. I decide that I want to know where he's going. So I put an air tag in his trunk to see if he was actually going to the gym.
And what did you find out with the air tag?
Well, over the course of the next 2 weeks, he was going to the same exact place every time I got a workout notification. A random residence in Sherman Oaks that I did not recognize.
Yeah, now you're a professional private investigator.
So what were you doing, Mr. Orell?
Actually, I was on my own time. I was going out and hanging out with friends, just enjoying myself
You
whenever I
just
could.
wanted to explore Sherman Oaks, that one area, for 2 weeks.
There was plenty of other areas that I went, you know. We're not disclosing, you know, all the information that everywhere I went. You know, I didn't just go hang out in Sherman Oaks, that's for sure.
All right, so you were investigator, and what else did you do, Miss Investigator?
Well, Your Honor, I did a good job at investigating, actually. I do have evidence of the text messages aligning with the Fitbit notifications.
May I see them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'd like to see them.
You will also see evidence of a medical bill that I recently received. During this time, while I was suspect of Alex's whereabouts, I also began to notice symptoms of an STI, and I went to the doctor, and despite being in a monogamous relationship, I did test positive
Yeah,
for
monogamous
gonorrhea.
relationship where you actually slept with my friends, so who knows where you got it. It's not like you can prove that you got it from me.
Wait, hold on, Mr. Orell, don't talk so fast. You said she slept with your friend?
Yeah, actually, I have somebody that's willing to testify on my behalf. I have a friend here that, you know, can vouch for me.
I'd like to hear from your witness, sir. Please stand. You've previously been sworn in. State your name for the court.
Hi, my name is Rob Hubbard.
Mr. Hubbard, what do you know about this situation between Mr. Orell and Ms. Gaines? He says that she was sleeping with a friend of his. Is that friend you?
Yes, Your Honor. Brittany and I, we did have a thing, you know, one time. She told me that she was upset at Alex for stepping out, and at the time, my girlfriend had just cheated on me, so I kind of wanted to wait to get revenge.
Coming up,
You can look through her medical records and see negative, negative, negative,
Well,
negative.
I'm showing no sorts of signs of having any sort of STI, so
Have you been tested?
no, ma'am.
and later,
A friend of mine, or it looked like a friend of mine on Facebook, sent me a link about, he said that he had the new Avatar movie, and I clicked on it, and then my computer went completely black.
we're back with a dispute between Alex Orell and his ex-girlfriend, Brittany Gaines, over shared living expenses.
Ms. Gaines, is Mr. Hubbard telling the truth?
I did sleep with him 3 years ago during a very rocky point in my relationship with Alex, a point in which he was also cheating.
This didn't happen during the window of time that you say you contracted the STI.
No, ma'am. And I have evidence as well of all of my medical history from the past 5 years to prove that I did not contract gonorrhea until this year.
So is it true, Mr. Hubbard, that the only time you slept with Ms. Gaines was 3 years ago?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sit down then, because... Now, he just said this was 3 years ago. You can look through her medical records and see negative, negative, negative,
Well,
negative.
I'm showing no sorts of signs of having any sort of STI, so
Have you been tested?
no, ma'am.
I actually have someone I think could speak to this problem of testing positively while asymptomatic, if you'd allow me to bring out a witness.
Oh, you have a witness?
I do.
All right. Sean, will you please escort Ms. Gaines' witness into the courtroom?
Seriously.
You've been sworn in. State your name for the record.
Ashley Brinks, Your Honor.
Ms. Brinks, please tell me who you are and how you know Ms. Gaines and Mr. Orell or Mr. Orell.
Yes, Your Honor, I'm here today to clear my conscience. I was in a sexual relationship with the plaintiff.
Oh!
A relationship I would have never been involved in had I known there was another woman. I was not aware of this until the defendant, Brittany, came to my apartment. I have never seen this woman before, and she informed me that she was Alex's live-in girlfriend of 5 years, and she also informed me of her positive diagnosis.
It looks like the AirTag tracked some very interesting information, which in Sherman Oaks, and now you've been found out.
We're actually here because of money. We're not here to air out our dirty laundry, you know? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you don't want to talk about that. But you brought a whole human being to testify about the fact that he slept with your girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, and then he ended up saying 3 years ago.
Plead the fifth.
But now you don't want to talk about this.
All right.
That's why I run this court and you don't. So Ms. Briggs, once Ms. Gaines informed you she had tested positive for an STI, did you also get tested?
Yes, at that point I had shown no signs or symptoms of an STI, so I'm very appreciative that she came to my apartment because I probably never would have known, because I doubt Alex would have told me. I made an appointment with my gyno, and a week later I also received a positive diagnosis.
Ms. Gaines, so you're saying you were living together, and once you found that out, what happened?
Well, once I had the screenshots of his location, the Fitbit notifications, as well as the gonorrhea test, I decided to confront him.
What did you do at that point?
I said bye. I was done. I said no more sacrificing my emotional or physical health for this man, and I left.
All right, and so you left. Now, Mr. Orell, you're suing her for $6,285 because you say she ran and then she didn't pay the rent.
Right. She left me kind of high and dry, didn't give me any notice.
How much was the rent every month?
It was $1,500 a month, 3 months, and then there's also utilities, gas, electric. I'm not going to even include the internet. I'm not going to be petty about that, but I'm just saying it rounds off to around $6,200.
All right, so she ran off after you gave her an STI and never even got tested yourself. But she ran off, and you all had an agreement that she was going to pay half of the rent and the utilities.
And not only verbally, it was also done through text.
And how many months is this that she left and did not pay?
3 months.
3 months?
Right.
All right. You, in writing, agreed to split the rent half and half. Do you understand?
I do.
You also said you'd split the utilities half and half, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
So now we get to the point where you've made a separate agreement with Mr. Orell. At the time that you wanted to then move on from that, you probably needed to negotiate with him, hey, I want to move out. Yeah. Let's work this out. I want to break up. I don't want to be responsible for this anymore because I don't want to be with you. While you agreed to say, yes, I'll pay half of the rent and half of the utilities, there is no specified amount of time, and that's problematic to this court. I do not think, Mr. Orell, you were specific enough in terms of this. You should come on and stay with me since we're together. It's closer to your work and it's closer to this. Well, now you're not together.
That's right.
So she'll need to stay with you. And she's not on the lease. For that reason, I'm going to allow you 1 month's rent, which I think she should have given you a 30-day notice that she was going to be leaving, and the utilities associated with that. Judgment for the plaintiff for $1,750. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,750.
I feel as if justice has been served today.
If you don't trust your man, trust your gut. Get tested.
Coming up.
He was clicking on something, and I happened to be in the kitchen. I looked over the counter. I said, don't do that. That's malware.
Rachel Pierce claims she got malware on her computer because her tenant clicks on risky links over her Wi-Fi. Andy Butler says he got the link from a friend and didn't think there was anything wrong with it.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Pierce versus Butler. Ms. Pierce, you are suing Mr. Butler for $540 for loss of pay you experienced when he downloaded a virus.
Yes,
is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And the defendant, Mr. Butler, says he's not responsible, and you lost money too.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, what kind of virus did he download, Ms. Pierce?
It's a malware virus where it takes over everything in your computer and you lose everything that's there. It's 99% effective where you can't even use a computer.
Oh, my goodness. So why was Mr. Butler using your internet?
Mr. Butler is a tenant of mine.
Okay.
My husband and I found a house that we really liked, and so we decided to rent it out so that we could have more income in the family.
And how did you meet Mr. Butler, and how did he come to be your tenant?
Well, Mr. Butler answered an ad that my husband and I put in Zillow. Both of us are educators. He does online schooling as well. So we just felt like he had a mixture. He has a daughter and a granddaughter that live close to us, and how this was a perfect neighborhood. So it was a good mix.
So this worked for you, Mr. Butler, in your life. And how long were you living there before this download issue happened?
I had been there for at least like 1 year.
All right, 1 year. And do you have a written lease?
We do have a written lease,
Did you bring a copy of that to court today?
I did not bring a copy of the lease. Mr. Butler and I had copies together. He signed one, I signed one.
Coming up.
Well, I'm not very computer savvy, and
Well, we can tell that.
Okay.
But don't feel bad because I'm not either.
We're back with the case of Rachel Pierce, who brought her tenant Andy Butler to court for downloading malware.
In this lease, what are the responsibilities for the tenant? What is the tenant responsible for?
He's responsible for paying his rent before the 5th of the month.
Just rent, any utilities?
He does pay some utilities. They're split between us, like the internet, the Wi-Fi.
So you all split the internet costs?
Yes, we do.
That is correct.
Evenly?
Evenly.
So at the point that you decided to download this, what was it, an app or a website? What was it?
It was a friend of mine, or it looked like a friend of mine on Facebook, sent me a link about, he said that he had the new Avatar movie, and would I like to watch it? And I said, sure. And I clicked on it, and then my computer went completely black.
Ugh.
Well, Your Honor, I'm sorry, but that's not what Mr. Butler told me. What happened was, this wasn't the first incident, it wasn't the second incident, it was actually the third incident of something that's happened. The first one happened when he was up in the kitchen one day. He was clicking on something, and I happened to be in the kitchen. I looked over the counter. I said, don't do that. That's malware.
What made you click this link even though you had been made aware not to click links that you weren't familiar with because it may cause issues with your internet service?
Well, I'm not very computer savvy, and
well, we can tell that.
Okay.
But don't feel bad because I'm not either. What did you say? You went up to Ms. Pierce and said, I clicked on something and now it's blank.
No, I thought, well, I'm just going to leave this alone, go to bed, and revisit it in the morning.
So you didn't say anything?
I didn't say anything, but then the next morning I woke up and I heard a lot of angry voices upstairs, and it was all due to the fact that what I did downloaded malware.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
So the question in this case, it boils down to is, Mr. Butler, were you negligent and were you responsible, right? Because you're saying at the end of the day, Ms. Pierce, because the computer went out, you suffered damages, you say loss of pay.
I did.
Mr. Butler, you decided to click on something that you thought was from a friend, and I realize these pop-ups and all of these things can look very tricky. However, you have to understand when you're sharing something that what you do directly affects another person. I don't think the mistake was malicious, and I do not think that you had any idea that what you would do would cause harm. It's the determination of this court that the judgment will be for the plaintiff for $270, which is half of the cost of the wages that she lost. Are we clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good luck to you. Court is adjourned.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $270.
I think that the judgment was fair. I do think she was a little easy on Mr. Butler because this is a habit.
Mr. Butler?
I think it was totally fair. I'm happy with the result.
Jordan Lewis claims his ex-girlfriend wrecked his car while moving out after they broke up. Amber Davis says her ex treats his luxury SUV better than he does their unborn child.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake now presiding.
Please be seated.
Hello, Judge.
Hello. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Lewis versus Davis. Mr. Lewis, you are suing Ms. Davis for $3,000 for damage you say she caused to your car. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Davis, you say that you already repaired the car.
That is correct.
All right. Well, let's get into the facts. Mr. Lewis, you had an accident with Ms. Davis. What happened to your car?
So I loaned her the vehicle so that she could move out of the house that we were sharing. and she came back and the vehicle is not in the same condition that it was when I sent it off.
Oh, so you were living together?
Yes.
And then what, you broke up?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and so she was gonna move out of the house and you loaned her your car?
Yes.
You borrowed this car, Ms. Davis, that's true?
Yes, ma'am.
To move out of the house?
I did.
And then you had an accident?
To be honest with you, I didn't have an accident, and I'm not really sure if I scratched his car or not. It's a 2006, and there were already scratches on the vehicle.
Okay, well, regardless of what year it is and how many scratches, do you remember if you had an accident?
No, I didn't have an accident, but
it was just damaged.
It was damaged. I parallel parked. It's possible that maybe I bumped the car behind me, but I don't remember that happening. But I took responsibility because he blamed it on me, and I've already gotten it detailed for him.
Let me see the damage. Does anyone have a picture of the damage, please?
Yes, we do, and I also have a receipt from where I've had it detailed.
Okay, first let me see the damage, and I'll take that folder and I'll look at the damage first. So you let her borrow your car. You have a picture of what it looked like when it came back. There is a definitive scratch on the bumper.
And I have, Your Honor, I have pictures of this car. I took some pictures in September. Like, this car is my baby, you know, like, I take care of it, I take it out, and I get it detailed, like, at least 3 times a year. I have here a picture of it that we can look at where it was in perfect condition.
Your Honor, he keeps saying the car is his baby. This is his baby.
No, it's not.
This is exactly why I asked you for the paternity test.
You said no, it's not, Mr. Lewis?
No, Your Honor.
This is exactly why I asked you for the paternity test. He wants to claim the car is his baby. That's all he's worried about. But I'm carrying his baby, and he keeps denying it.
So is this why you all broke up?
Well, we broke up. She wanted a baby and marriage, and like right now, I'm just not in the position to do that. She kept rushing me throughout the years.
It's been 4.5 years, Your Honor. How is that a rush?
So you've been dating 4.5 years.
4.5 years and living together for the majority of that time.
So were you pregnant when you decided to move out of the house? Is that why you broke up?
Yes, well, so we were already breaking up. So basically, Your Honor, I was moving out the house and we were breaking up at that time, but there was a lot that went into the breakup.
But did you know you were pregnant when you...
Yes, I told him that I was pregnant, and we ended the relationship the same day that I told him that I was pregnant. Now, I asked him to help me move out, but instead of helping me, he tossed me the keys to his car and told me to do it myself.
All right, and you say when you tossed those keys to the car looked like this. It looked like your 2006 baby that you've taken care of.
Yes, Your Honor.
And when it came back, it looked like the before picture here.
Yes.
And then you say, Ms. Davis, you actually did go get the bumper fixed, and then it looked like the after picture.
I did, yes.
All right. And so I can still see scratches on the after picture. So is that what your issue is, Mr. Lewis?
Yes, I took the car. I also have an estimate that I got from Range Rover. It said basically the integrity of the bumper is like compromised because you can't just patch it up or like, you know, like put anything on top of it. You have to get entirely new bumpers because if something happens to the bumper now, it can fall off. Like,
Your Honor,
can't just detail the bumper.
He doesn't need an entirely new bumper.
I need an entirely new bumper.
If you look in my folder as well, I have an estimate of repairing that bumper. It's going to be $500 to repair it.
So let me ask you that. Is that the repair that you already did, or is that an estimate to repair it from the place where you have it repaired?
That's an addition. So I've already had it detailed, and that's the pictures that you see here. But then I went above and beyond, and I got an estimate because he kept complaining that it wasn't good enough. And I got an estimate for them to actually repair the bumper because he still thinks it's not good enough. $500 was that total, not $3,000.
Coming up.
I did a little bit of stumbling up on some messages that I probably shouldn't have seen.
Oh, you stumbled up? You slipped on a banana peel and came up in there and came back down, and then your hand just accidentally did the code to her phone?
We're back with the case of Jordan Lewis, who blames Amber Davis for damaging his car.
Well, I'll tell you, you come to the right courtroom with the right judge, because I know a little bit about used Range Rovers, because I have one. And the truth is, they are going to tell you need to replace the whole bumper. That's exactly what Range Rover is going to tell you. And I'm looking at the damage right here, and I'm saying to myself, but there are alternatives, especially with a used car. If you're willing to use a company that isn't a licensed dealer, or I shouldn't say, a licensed Range Rover dealer. Like if you're willing to go to maybe a body shop that's able to do a good job painting that bumper. Did you ever think about that, considering that it is a 2006?
No, Your Honor. Like I said, this car is my baby. I've taken good care of it since I got it. It
is
looks
your
like we just
baby.
put it off the line in 2006.
The car is a
basically.
car, and it's a bumper. Bumpers are literally for bumping into things. That's why they put them on.
You hear what I gotta deal with?
Well, Ms.
It's in the
Davis, let's not take it that far. There is a way that a bumper does protect the vehicle. That is true. But when someone lends you their vehicle and you accept that responsibility, it is your responsibility to return it the way that it was given to you. I can see the difference. But what this court's opinion is there's got to be something in between $3,000 to put a brand new bumper on a 2006 car and the type of job that you had done. And it seems to me that the reason that you all aren't doing a great job at communicating and compromising on the bumper is because you've got another issue, which is the baby, that you all have yet to deal with.
Our baby.
So, Mr. Lewis, you basically are saying you do not feel Ms. Davis's child that she's obviously carrying is yours.
No, ma'am.
Why don't you believe that?
When we were separating, we were having problems. I decided not to go home with her for Christmas. And I did a little bit of stumbling up on some messages that I probably shouldn't have seen. And
Oh, you stumbled up? You slipped on a banana peel and came up in there and came back down, and then your hand just accidentally did the code to her phone?
Well, you know.
How'd you stumble on them?
Through her Facebook messages.
Oh, you stumbled into the Facebook with the passcode.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay.
Well, she left
be
it up.
careful of those banana peels, Sean.
Got to.
Okay, got to be
Well,
careful when you slip and get into somebody's Facebook. So you went snooping through her Facebook.
And I just
Invading my
found-
privacy.
I found that she was planning to hang out with all of her friends from back there, back home, and the one that was concerned was her ex.
Oh, so you were trying to act like you didn't feel like going home with her. Then when you were snooping through her Facebook, you saw that she made plans to hang out with friends at home, and one of them was her ex.
Yes.
And so you believe she slept with that ex?
Yes.
Did you sleep with that ex, Ms. Davis?
I did not. And Your Honor, that actually doesn't even matter if I had slept with him because I was already pregnant before I went home.
What woman doesn't want to tell the person who made them pregnant that they're not, she didn't even tell me.
A woman that's in the middle of an argument with that person.
Oh, you feel like that was shady, that she didn't tell you?
If she knew that I was the father, she would have been excited to tell me, right?
No, I wasn't excited to tell you because you wanted to make everything an argument. Everything was about money with you. Everything was jealousy. Anytime another guy
Everything
looked
is
my
about
way,
marriage
you were
with you.
jealous. Yes,
You
well,
want
that's
me to
what you
marry
told me you wanted when we first
You want
met.
me to have
The day we
kids?
met,
I'm not
yes,
ready to
and
have
that's what you
kids.
said you wanted as well.
Let's get some order. Maybe that's why she didn't tell you, Mr. Lewis, is because she knew you would be upset because you had said previously and even testified to the fact that you didn't want any kids right now or that responsibility.
That's not my baby.
This is your
So,
baby.
hold on. So, Ms. Davis, did you make plans to hang out with your ex when you got home?
I made plans to hang out with a group of friends. My ex was included in that group.
Do you think that was responsible, considering the fact that you were in a relationship?
No, I wouldn't call it responsible, but it wasn't intentional. It wasn't malicious.
I told her
wasn't
that if she
looking to
hangs out
make
with him, she
jealous.
could consider us done, all the way.
And
she
I'm
still
a
hung out
grown
with him.
woman. You don't tell me
So
what
by
to
the
do.
time you got back, it was over.
It was over.
And it was
She told
time
me
for
I
you
couldn't tell her what to do.
All right. So, okay.
But Your Honor, that's not even the end of the story because the reality is, while I was with my parents for the holidays, he used that opportunity to cheat on me with his ex. And that's why he wants to make this about someone else, because he actually cheated.
Well, did you cheat, Mr. Lewis? We're here now.
At the time,
we're here now.
We was
You might as well go ahead and let it all hang out.
We were on the break. We were on the break, and I was honest with her, but she had me scared.
It wasn't a break.
So
She had me
let me
scared.
tell you something. This is exactly why I have never been a snooper. Because when you looking for something, you're going to find it.
Don't find it.
And I mean, even if it's nothing, you're going to find it and think it's something. You're going to make it something. So you don't work your little self up, you in this Facebook, and you thought she was home with her ex, your nerves were shot, and now you done ran out seeking counsel under the covers with somebody else.
Coming up.
I agree that you have every reason to feel like your car needs to be restored to the way that you gave it to her when she borrowed it. I think we have a larger issue at hand with respect to, is this or is this not your child? And luckily, this court can provide both of those answers.
We're back with the case of Jordan Lewis, who blames Amber Davis for damaging his car.
So you think she slept with somebody else? And then you slept with somebody else.
No amount of denying this baby is going to change the fact that it's yours.
Do you have any proof that she slept with anybody else, or was it just the fact that her ex was in a group of friends she hung out? And I'm going to be clear with you, Mr. Lewis. I agree with you. I don't need my, girlfriend or boyfriend hanging out with an ex. You know what I mean? I understand what you're saying. Like, that's not really how we handle that responsibly, especially if she didn't say, hey, I'm gonna hang out with him. Are you all right with that? And you could have at least said how you felt. So I understand your position. What I want to understand is, do you have any proof that she slept with anybody else?
No.
So why are you just so adamant that that's not your baby?
Because
he's cheap.
Like I said, she didn't.
Because he's cheap.
She didn't tell me that she was pregnant until after she came back home. Like, if she was excited to be pregnant and she knew I was the father, she should have told me responsibly so that I can make decisions.
Would you have been excited to tell you the way you were treating me?
If she would have said she was pregnant before she left, you would have been more inclined to say, I'm going to go on and go home with you.
Yes.
All right. Well, you know what? We got ourselves a fine mess going on right here. We worried about the bumper on her car, and she got a full bumper right here with a baby inside. And I think, while I agree that you have every reason to feel like your car needs to be restored to the way that you gave it to her when she borrowed it, I think we have a larger issue at hand with respect to, is this or is this not your child? And luckily, this court can provide both of those answers.
We're back with the case of Jordan Lewis, who blames Amber Davis for damaging his car.
With respect to this bumper, Mr. Lewis, I realize how much this car means to you, and I see how clean you have kept it. It looks really, really good.
Thank you.
But I do think that Ms. Davis deserves an opportunity to find a reputable body shop that can restore the paint to your bumper before this $3,000 bumper needs to be replaced as new. Now, I do believe that it's going to cost more than $500. So it is this court's opinion that you are entitled to $750 in recovery today for the repair of the bumper. Ms. Davis, I want you to say on the record, if in fact the bumper cannot be repaired with $750, that you are willing to cover whatever the difference is.
Yes, ma'am.
You are?
I am.
All right. So that is done. Judgment for the plaintiff for $750 for the damage to the bumper. Now, for the thing that is even more important, which is the paternity, let's get these answers. You both submitted to DNA testing, and the results read as follows. In the case of Lewis versus Davis, as it relates to the unborn baby that Ms. Davis is currently carrying, it has been determined by this court.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Mr. Lewis, you are the father.
Told you.
You are the father. You got a real baby now.
Right here.
Got a real baby now. I see that it really does mean something to you.
Yeah, I did enjoy our time together. If the baby is mine, so I am gonna help take care of it, but I just don't really appreciate everything that was going on over the break.
And you know what's wonderful? The baby's not going to appreciate his mom and his dad arguing about nonsense. Now, one thing we know, you know how to take care of something you love. We've seen that, but that's a car. Now, I want to see you do the same thing as it relates to your child. Are we clear?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good luck to both of you. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $750.
All this time I've been telling you this is your baby and you've been denying this baby this whole time in favor of a car. Now how do you feel? Knowing that this is in fact your kid. Who else's could it have even been?
My car fixed.
Matthew Renner claims he shouldn't have to pay for the cost of his ex-girlfriend's new cell phone now that they've broken up. Natalie Baylor says the phone was a gift to replace the one Mr. Renner broke.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Renner versus Baylor. Mr. Renner, you are suing Ms. Baylor for $1,200. You say it's because of an iPhone you gave her and unpaid mobile bills. Explain to the court what happened.
Yeah, so I'm suing my ex-girlfriend for $1,200 for a phone. I brought hers when hers broke during our relationship. Everything was going good. We got along great. One time we were hanging out. Her phone broke. I got offered for my phone company, a free phone with extra line.
Hold on, Ms. Baylor. Let me get the case started. I want to understand why he is suing you.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. So when the phone broke, I got her a new one on my line. I got a free phone for an extra line. I got it for her.
All right, so you added an extra line to your account.
Yes.
And it was a free phone.
Yes.
And
That was free.
You gave her the phone.
Yes.
Did you pay for her service on your account as well?
I did.
Not all the time.
All right, so Ms. Baylor, did he give you a phone when your phone broke?
Yes, because he broke the phone.
Oh, you didn't add that part in, Mr. Renner.
Yeah, of course not.
Your Honor, I did not break the phone, but I did buy her a new phone regardless. And
No.
What happened to the phone?
No. So what he doesn't mention right here is that he used to be paranoid about who was texting me, paranoid who was in my DMs, and I remember the specific day. He got mad at me and snatched my phone, and the phone broke on the floor, and he had no choice to get me another phone, because what could I do with no phone?
Did you try to snatch the phone and it fell on the ground, Mr. Renner?
No, Your Honor, I did not.
So what happened in your estimation?
In my estimation, what happened is I was walking up behind her. She dropped her phone.
Why would I drop
In my opinion, this is what's really going on. She is always on her phone talking to people, talking to other guys and things like that, which she brings to my attention.
That's what you're assuming.
A lot.
I'm not talking to any guys, and that's why we broke up, because I cannot, this is what I do all the time.
So you get a phone, and then what happens?
And now he's asking me for $1,200.
For the price of the phone?
Yes.
Right.
Why?
So after we split, after we broke up.
How long after you bought the phone did you break up?
It had been a couple months.
Months?
Yeah.
All right, so you get the phone for her, and then in just 2 months after that, you all break up?
He broke up with me, yes, because again, like I'm telling you, he has such insecurities. For him, I'm always pursuing other people. For him, I'm always on the phone to talk to other people, whenever the real reason why I'm on the phone is to help him with his business and help myself on my business.
What kind of business do you do where she helps you using the phone?
Well, he's not good. I'm sorry, but we got to say what it is. He's not good at, putting out there what he's doing. He's a very talented, I got to admit, tattoo artist, but it doesn't stop there. You have to put yourself out there. I am a graphic designer, so I have to put my talent and whatever I know what to do the best out there on social media.
So you felt like he was not having a big enough social media presence
It's a fact.
to support a business that could be doing a lot better if he was out there.
Especially after what he'd been through during the pandemic. I mean, me as a partner, I want to lift him up. If he's, doing financially good, I'm doing financially good as well. It's a 50-50.
So let me ask you this. Were these phones in your personal name, Mr. Renner, or your business name?
Personal name.
Okay. But you knew that she was going to use the phone to do a little help for you.
Yeah.
Right, and it did begin that way. But again, I'm a tattoo artist. She helped me with taking pictures of the art I was doing, posting it, and things like that, and it went great. Every single time there'd be any disagreement between me and her, I would get thrown in my face that she had other men that she could be with.
Yeah.
Men from my Instagram account that she was running, men from her Instagram account that she was running, whatever man from either account, she would put in my face that at any time she could go be with them and she could leave me and go be with them.
And
if I wasn't doing what she wanted me to do, if I wasn't pleasing her however she wanted to be pleased, she would immediately throw that in my face.
No, let me tell you something. I emphasize the fact that there is plenty of men that are waiting for me outside of the house to let you know that, listen, I still choose you. I still choose you every single day, no matter what.
Your Honor, it is not a matter of a question of my care.
This sounds like a typical argument, doesn't it, Sean?
Absolutely. Coming up.
Because mind you, he broke up with me for some stupid reason. I had to walk out of the house this night. Let me be completely honest with you.
That's what I hope you're going to do in court.
And later.
So you're testifying in court that you agreed verbally that you're going to live with her for 6 months.
I do. But the thing is that she didn't tell me the full truth.
We're back with exes Matthew Renner and Natalie Baylor, who are fighting over a cell phone.
So you all got into it about the phone, about social media. There were insecurities there. There were all those things. And this led to the breakup?
We got into an argument, okay? And after this argument, he told me, well, if this is what you desire, if this is what you want to do, just go. Go with the man
that she sees, the ones that she likes, the ones she talks to.
Absolutely
if that's
not.
what she wants, she threw in my face.
This is assumption, and you cannot. There is no facts. There is no fact. You literally packed my stuff and put the stuff in front of the door because I had to stop this conversation.
Because she walked out, she left. And the night before, she speeds out the house. She goes, I could be with anybody I want to. All these guys talking, I can be with them. I said, if that's what you want to be, if you want to be, that's what you want to be, then go ahead and you do that. She picks up herself and she storms out and she leaves.
I stormed out.
Next morning, she's not there. She's still gone.
How did we get to the point where you think she owes you for this phone?
That's insecurity.
So she comes back when I was at work, gets her stuff. We never talked. We haven't talked since then.
No,
I get a bill that says that I owe $1,200 for the termination of the contract from the phone because she decides to switch her number and the line. Yes.
Got it. Once she takes the phone off your account,
yes,
then it's like the price of the phone escalates. It's no longer free because it's not associated to your other phone.
Bingo, yes.
But I'm not using the phone anymore because, mind you, he broke up with me for some stupid reason. I had to walk out of the house this night. Let me be completely honest with you.
That's what I hope you're going to do in court.
Well, exactly. So when you see our conversation, you see that we cannot get to an agreement. Whenever that happens within closed doors, behind closed doors, the only thing that you have to do at some point is to step out of the house. It just escalates.
You needed to step out to de-escalate the anger. You did not want something to happen that shouldn't happen, the anger
and
take over.
And not dealing with your insecurity.
And that's why you didn't come back.
Yes.
But you weren't going to leave the relationship.
No, of course not. How would I leave a relationship over a phone? I mean, that's insane to me.
So the point is, why didn't you all work it out and get back together then?
Because I believe that he's putting on me, projecting on me things that he doesn't want me to do, and he makes me feel bad for things that I'm not doing. Yeah. Mind you, he is right here complaining about stuff such as, I left the house and I didn't come until next morning. Whenever for a whole weekend, I didn't hear from him when he was in jail because he couldn't pay for the child support of his baby mama. And then you want me, and then
that was a mouthful. Okay, I'm just trying to figure out how we get to the price of the phone. You done gone
and it's
way down the rabbit hole.
We're talking about $12,000 that he owes to his baby mama and not $1,200. So you know what I'm saying? To me, it just doesn't make sense. To me, we're not in court because
he needs. Mr. Renner, you better jump in here because Ms. Baylor telling all your business.
Yeah, I know. She definitely is. So
how do we, at what point do you say, I need the money back? Do you ask her for the phone back or for the money for the phone back? What do you do?
I don't ask her about anything until I got a bill. As soon as I got a bill, I messaged her and I asked her. And I said to her, hey, got a bill? I'm going to need.
Is that the bill?
This is the bill.
Let me see it, please.
I'm not paying for a phone that I'm not using anymore.
This is the cell phone bill. I see $1,200. And now he owes it because it got disconnected from his account.
I mean, I'm not going to
So you disconnected it. Do you admit that?
Yes.
But now you say you're not using it.
No, I'm not on his account anymore.
Oh, but you're still using the phone?
No.
Where's the phone?
I mean, probably at my house. If you want the phone, I can totally give you the phone back.
You
if you want to
can?
use it. I mean, that's enough.
So it took you all to come all the way to We the People and waste all. Don't talk over me.
Sorry.
It took you all to come all the way to We the People for you to look at him and say, "I'll give you that phone back."
That's the miscommunication that we've been dealing with since the beginning of our relationship. Never ever once.
Miscommunication. It's total and utter lack of communication.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous how much time and energy you waste of your own and of the courts.
Right.
Are you willing to give him the telephone back?
Yeah.
Do you want the telephone back?
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought you should say it because the real truth is you bought the phone as a gift. Gifts are not revocable. You give something, you don't get it back just because you broke up.
Just like he did.
We made an
Listen, I'm done. Because both of you are basically telling the same story. But what you're not understanding is the phone was a gift. But what I got her to say is that she will give you that phone back. Because I was not going to rule in your favor anyway, so you better be lucky she said that.
Well, you're going to see
It's
him
the
back.
order of Miss Baylor.
I'm sorry.
If you do not stop running your mouth while I'm talking.
I apologize.
It is the order of this court. You return the phone to Mr. Renner since you said in open court you were willing to, and he accepted the phone. Judgment is for the defendant with the understanding that the phone is returned to you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The cell phone will be returned to the plaintiff.
You should probably worry about your child and your child support and your baby mama before you worry about a damn phone.
Really? That's what you're gonna
Yes, that's how I feel.
Coming up.
What did she leave out?
She left out the house rules. I let her know what
Your Honor,
I
it
did
was
want.
general house rules.
General house rules?
Just
What are
to
you
be
talking
a courteous
about?
roommate.
Angela Flores claims her former roommate owes her back rent after moving out without giving notice. Michelle Cortez claims she was looking for a place to live, not a set of rules to follow.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Flores versus Cortez. Ms. Flores, you are suing Ms. Cortez for unpaid rent. Is that
Yes, Your
correct?
Honor. That is correct, Your Honor.
Please explain to the court what happened.
So I am here suing my ex-roommate and ex-friend, Michelle Cortez, for not paying me $2,400, 3 months of rent that she did not pay me, and that's why we're here today, Your Honor.
So tell me about when you believe you established a lease agreement with her and how you established it.
We had a verbal agreement, Your Honor, for her to move in for $800 a month, and about after 4 weeks, her behavior started to change. She was leaving dishes in the sink for more than 5 days, having her boyfriend sleep over 4 nights in a row, and then I go into her room and she just has keys on the nightstand with a note that says, "Thank you, Angela, for letting me live here, but it's not working out."
How
A
long
yellow
after
Post-it
she
note.
moved
Sorry,
in
Your Honor.
did she send that note, did she write that note?
It was probably about a month after she had left that note.
So a month. And you were charging her how much per month?
$800 a month.
So, Ms. Cortez, did you agree to enter a lease agreement with Ms. Flores?
I didn't enter a lease or a contract with her.
Your Honor,
it
we
was
had a verbal
only an
agreement.
agreement. It was only an agreement.
Did you
verbal
have a written
agreement.
lease?
No, I agreed to her verbally to live with her.
So you're admitting that you agreed verbally to live with her?
Yes.
For how long?
For 6 months.
So you're testifying in court that you agreed verbally that you're going to live with her for 6 months?
I do. But the thing is that she didn't tell me the full truth.
What did she leave out?
She left out the house rules. And I wasn't okay with the house rules because I let her know what
Your Honor,
I did
it was
want.
general house rules.
General house rules?
Just
what are
to
you
be a
talking
courteous
about?
roommate.
Coming up.
When did you get this email?
Like 2 or 3 days after I moved
2
in.
or 3 days after you take her first $800, but you couldn't be that specific before.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plot thickens.
We're back with a dispute between former roommates Angela Flores and Michelle Cortez over unpaid rent.
Before she moved in, did you say to her, "I have house rules"?
I did not, Your Honor.
All right. Do you have a lease agreement or sublease agreement that is in writing that says you are allowing her to legally become your roommate?
I did not, Your Honor.
What are these house rules?
The house rules are as follows.
Do you have them written
Your Honor.
down?
Yes.
I'd like to see those. Sean, can you hand them to me?
There are 5 house rules listed, Your Honor.
5 house rules. Overnight guests are only allowed 2 times a week. No loud noise after 10 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and after midnight Friday through Saturday. Please limit showers to less than 10 minutes. What? Okay. Together we can save the planet, so you're conserving water.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. No dishes in the sink. And no excessive consumption of alcoholic beverages. All right, so you got rules. But you didn't think these rules were important enough to share with Ms. Cortez before she moved in?
Not at the time, Your Honor, no.
Why?
I was worried that those rules would possibly make her not want to move in.
Oh, so you wanted her to move in because you needed that money?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, now it makes sense because I don't understand how you can be so specific in an email. When did you get this email?
Like 2 or 3 days after I moved
2
in.
or 3 days after you take her first $800. But you couldn't be that specific before.
Yes, Your Honor.
The plot thickens.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Do you have in writing anything that says you're going to stay for 6 months?
No, Your Honor. I do
now,
not.
you verbally testified, Ms. Cortez, and I want to make sure it's clear that you agreed verbally, I am going to live with you for 6 months.
Yes.
But you left because you felt like what?
Well, that she didn't tell me the truth about moving in with her. She didn't tell me about the house rules.
So, Ms. Flores, you say you agreed to a 6-month lease. You're suing for $2,400, not $4,800. Why?
Your Honor, I was unable to find a roommate for the last 3 months, and so that's where I'm here to collect that money for 3 months of unpaid rent.
All right, I've heard enough. Because the truth is, I believe she should have given you 30 days notice, but I don't believe you were on the up and up when you allowed her to come stay with you. And you purposefully held back those rules so you can get that money because you needed it, and that was wrong. And it is for that reason my judgment is for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed. Janelle Williamson claims she was bamboozled when she bought a vintage designer purse that turned out to be fake. Krista Sneed maintains that she doesn't sell knockoffs.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Williamson versus Sneed. Ms. Williamson, you are suing Ms. Sneed for $478.50. You say it's the cost of a bag that you purchased at her boutique that turned out to be fake.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, tell the court what happened.
So I went to Miss Sneed's store and I liked a bag. So I looked at this bag, examined the bag, looked at the label, saw the price, and I was like, oh, this is nice. I feel like it's a steal for the price and the label. So I went on to get the bag, and I was about to leave, and she was like, oh, remember, it's no refunds, no exchanges, no whatever. So I was like, oh, yeah. But then I went on to my house, excited about, again, having a steal, and my cousins were like, yeah, darling, this is fake. And then I went on to even go to the store and get it examined. And they said, I'm so sorry, Mom, it's a fake bag. And then I just looked stupid.
So if it was a steal, why did you think it was real?
Because it's a vintage store. So vintage stores, generally, the ones I've been to anyway, sell real bags. But apart from that, it was definitely expensive for a vintage store. But because of the label and the price, I thought, oh, this is a steal.
This is a great value.
Yes, I want to keep it.
You want to you want to get the bag.
Yes.
Okay, and you bought it.
Yes.
All right. So Ms. Sneed, how do you respond to Ms. Williamson's claim? She says she came into your store, she saw a bag, and she thought she was getting a real bag. What do you say to this?
First of all, she never asked me if it was real, so I never stated that it was, but I also never thought I would need to because I don't accept things into the store that are fakes. So it just wouldn't have dawned on me.
Oh, so you don't sell any fakes in your store?
No, we don't sell any fakes because if it has a designer, Excuse me. If it has a designer label, then it is a designer item. We certainly do have other vintage items, say from the 1920s and such, that don't have any label.
Of course.
Right, yeah. But if it says it's a designer, it's a designer.
But you don't sell replicas or copies of vintage bags.
We do not sell fakes.
And so, Ms. Williamson, I'd like to know from you then, how did you come to believe it was the designer bag you thought it was?
So it has the label and it has the monogram logo on the corner. You know how it has the tiny little label in the corners of these designer bags?
So it had
that
the
as well.
label?
Yes.
So you went into the actual store of the
Yes.
designer?
Yes.
And they basically said, this is not one of ours?
Yes.
Or this, did they make a purse that was just like that?
Yes.
Or was there, so there is a purse
similar,
at the store, similar or exactly like it? That's a difference.
I thought it looked exactly like it, but when I went into the store and she pulled it up on the computer, she was like, oh yeah, no, this is...
You could see the differences
Yeah.
between the real bag and what you had.
Mm-hmm.
How did the actual label look?
The label was very similar. The difference was the bag that I got from her was black, and the label that they have was like a grey black, so it wasn't like a black, but her label
Did you
is
bring
black.
the bag with you?
I did, Your
Let
Honor.
me see it, please. Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
And the label's in the inside?
Yes.
It's a smaller bag, so the label is small.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go back to Miss Sneed and go back to the shop, what do you say?
I was like, oh, hi, I would like to return this bag. I realized it's fake. You know, I'm sorry that I found out so late. I should have known when I was in the store, but I realized the bag was fake and I would like my money back.
Okay, so why did you apologize for saying, I'm sorry, I should have known this was a fake in the store?
Oh, because I feel like I should have known, just being me. I should have known that it was a fake bag. And I honestly don't even think she knows it's a fake bag, which is ridiculous.
The only problem with this is, Miss Sneed, is you're saying to me you believe the bag was real.
Can I tell you why I believe it's real?
Yes.
I believe that vintage, it also means old and of a time, and that bag is not a current of their models that they make now. It's one of their vintage bags. And I don't know who you talked to in the store, but I don't know that the person working in the store was necessarily as knowledgeable as the vendor that I got it from, that I use all of the time, to know that that bag was real or not. So she did say that when she was leaving, I said no refunds, no exchanges, and no returns. That is not how it happened. I have here no refunds, no exchanges, no returns. It's on the register.
Let me see your policy. Sean, will you hand that to me, please?
Thank you.
Here we are.
The Remix Boudoir.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I should have known.
It's a remix.
I should have known.
From the old.
That's exactly what I was thinking. And if
Exactly.
you
I
think
should've
about what a
known.
remix is,
It's the old to the new. It's hip to the now.
well,
No.
it might be hip to the now. It might be fake. We don't know.
I know.
Coming up.
You just said, I'm selling real bags.
Yeah, I believe
That's and that's what you say your store does. You said your store doesn't carry knockoffs.
No.
Which you shouldn't. But you say it doesn't.
It doesn't.
And later.
The plane was about to land. He rushes towards the front, tries to remove his luggage from my overhead compartment, and it fell and hit me on the head.
And knocked you out?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness.
We're back with a dispute between Janelle Williamson and Krista Sneed over the authenticity of a designer purse.
See, you just set yourself up here in this courtroom.
It's okay.
So if it's fake, then you just basically owe her money back.
Yep.
With the exception of the policy that she bought a bag and
The
I sold
policy
a bag.
has to
No.
do with a real bag.
Because you just said, I'm selling real bags.
Yeah, I believe I am.
And that's what you say your store does. You said your store doesn't carry knockoffs.
No.
Which you shouldn't.
But we should.
But you say it doesn't.
It doesn't.
So what if from this bag, it's obvious to see that the name on the bag is different from what the company says, and it's a fake bag? Then what is your policy?
Okay, if I believed it was obvious to see, or that she even went to a store, or that the store was a store that was versed in vintage bags of that same brand, then I would discuss it with her, but I still have my policy of no refunds, no exchanges,
Once
and
she
returns.
called and said the bag was fake, because this is...
She came to the store.
No. This is the part about stores and customer service. And lucky for you, I've worked retail a long time and also used to own and operate a store. And what good customer service usually dictates is that the customer's always right, unless the customer is being utterly unreasonable, okay? So if a customer buys a vintage bag that now you've testified in open court, you believe is real and she believed was real, but was a great deal because it was vintage.
Yeah.
You both leave out of that transaction thinking she has a real bag.
Yes.
If something happens and she tells you she goes into the retail store and they tell her that is not a real bag, what responsibility do you have then to find out whether the bag you sold her is real or fake?
I did my due diligence. When I got the bag from my vendor, we always take any product that does have a label that we get into the store, and we do our comparisons with our vendor and with the people that we use from the designers. I'm sorry, this is just backstory, but my mother has worked in the industry of fashion for a long time since I was a child, and I have many people that I contact if I have a question about the validity of a product.
Don't tell me about your vendor told you, because they're making too good of fakes right now.
Right.
How do you know this bag is real?
I went through the same step that I go with all of my other items.
Did you ever go back to the place where she says they told her this is not our bag, to the designer? Have you gone?
She didn't tell me where she went.
Okay, have you gone to the designer on your own?
No, I haven't gone to the designer.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. I've heard enough. Okay, so this is the problem. The problem is this. You have a store that warrants that it sells vintage real bags. So a person going in and purchasing, no matter whether it's a great deal or it's not a great deal, you're thinking, I'm getting a vintage real bag. Now, the label on this bag is such that it is so substantially similar to the label of the true designer bag that maybe the person could not recognize it. That's what fake bags are all about.
Or it's a real
But
bag.
the point is, Miss Sneed, I love when people want to go tit for tat with me in courtroom, but you ain't going tit for tat with your quality control and making sure that the bags you're getting in are what you are warranting that you're selling. And that's the problem here. And all I needed to hear from you, truly in this testimony, is that you did some very real due diligence to be able to uphold your company's standards, that it's a real bag, to say, and I went to this company. I went there myself because I wanted to find out whether or not the bag is real or fake. That's when I can understand that maybe your supplier got something past you.
I believe she is lying and did not go to the company. That is my point.
Right, but did you go to the company
I did
yourself
not, because
and
I thought it
figure
was right.
out? No, that's the whole point.
Okay.
You are not operating your business well. Now, the problem is this. I'm in here, and I have to figure out whether she gets all her money back or whether she doesn't, because you just haven't done your job. So at the end of the day, I'm going to award the plaintiff the $470. Please don't do all that. That's too much. Now you're going to get on my nerves and change the money I'm about to give you. This should challenge you to do due diligence on every single product you bring in the store. The reason why I know this is because my nephew actually works for a sneaker company that specializes in the resale of sneakers. They have an entire division. They're called authenticators. That's what they do. They authenticate a certain product. You need to invest in that so that you are not warranting to customers you have real things and you don't. Judgment for the plaintiff for $478.50. Court is adjourned.
All rise. Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $478.50.
You told me you had a date that night and that you were going to use that bag that night. And what I think is you used it and wanted to return it so you get your money back.
Are you
I couldn't tell her
Do
that
I
and she
look
wouldn't
like
let me
the type of
speak.
person that would do that?
I don't look at looks. You do. You're the bag
You don't look at
aficionado.
looks because that's why you're selling a fake bag.
Right,
Obviously, darling.
Which you would know because
And
you
may
know
now
what
exit the
professional.
courtroom.
Uh-huh.
Coming up.
What happens?
He rushes towards the front, tries to remove his luggage from my overhead compartment, and it fell and hit me on the head.
And knocked you out?
Yes, ma'am.
Ryan Brown claims an impatient passenger on his flight is responsible for his concussion. Gregory Landis says the accident happened because he was rushing to get to a funeral.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Brown versus Landis. Mr. Brown, you are suing Mr. Landis for $3,700. It says it's for the cost of medical bills you suffered from a concussion when you were hit in the head by Mr. Landis's suitcase on a flight.
Yes,
Explain to the
that's
court
right.
what happened.
Yes, ma'am. I was on a flight to a very important conference for my company, and we were just about to land, and the defendant, he just rushes his way up the aisle,
and nobody was even supposed to be up.
So let me be clear. Was the plane still in the air, or you had landed and it was sitting, but you weren't at the gate?
We were already landed. The plane was taxiing to the, on the runway.
And all of a sudden you hear someone barreling up, or the cabinet above your head is open. What happens?
He rushes towards the front, tries to remove his luggage from my overhead compartment, and it fell and hit me on the head.
Oh, when he pulled his luggage out, it fell on you?
Yes, ma'am.
And knocked you out?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, my goodness. So, Mr. Landis, how do you respond to this?
Your Honor, it was an accident, but I was in a hurry because the flight had been delayed. I was on my way to my cousin's funeral. I needed to make that. I had placed it pretty securely. I'd made sure there was room for it, and there was room for it to lay on its side, but it was a bumpy flight, so it had shifted on, sort of on its side.
So it was on its side this way, and then when you opened it, it hit him.
I saw it kind of start to fall, so I kind of hesitated in grabbing it, and the wheel on the bag got caught.
Coming up.
I saw Mr. Landis come up the aisle, and I asked him multiple times to please sit down. He did not listen. I saw his bag fall. That is when I got up and ran to Mr. Brown's side.
We're back with the case of Ryan Brown, who blames fellow airline passenger Gregory Landis for his head injury.
Bottom line, you dropped it, and you're admitting you did.
Yes, but
it fell on his head.
Yes, but it was in no way on purpose or any way that I could predict how that was going to happen.
I'd like to hear from your witness, Mr. Brown. Will you stand, ma'am? State your name for the court.
My name is Maria Costin, and I was the flight attendant on the flight between Mr. Landis and Mr. Brown.
Thank you for being here, Ms. Costin. I'd like to understand from your perspective what happened when the flight landed.
His bag was technically a carry-on, but it was a little stuffed. But when I saw him put his bag up, it technically did fit. So when we landed and touched down, we were still taxiing to the gate. The seatbelt sign was still on, and I saw Mr. Landis come up the aisle, and I asked him multiple times to please sit down. We need to stay in our seats. He did not listen. So finally, once he had opened the overhead bin space and I saw his bag fall, that is when I got up and ran to Mr. Brown's side.
So you saw him open it and his bag just fall out. He was not trying to get it out and dropped it.
He kind of grabbed it, reassessed, and then dropped it.
Okay. So where were you? Were you in the back of the plane seated where you could see all of this?
Actually, I was in the front of the plane facing the passengers because everyone was seated at the time.
Including the attendants?
Correct.
And this was not a time that he should even be walking?
Correct. Everybody was supposed to be seated, and the seatbelt sign was still on.
All right.
Your Honor, let it be known, please, that the plane was stopped for a good minute before I decided to get up. I thought it was at the gate already, but...
Right.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Mr. Landis, there is never a time that a passenger can just unilaterally decide, I'm going to remove myself from my seat and run up the aisle. And this is probably the exact reasons why airlines want to be at a complete stop at a gate before the overhead bins are open for the cases just like this, that someone could be injured. Now, I am not hearing right now any way that the flight attendants and the airlines were negligent, but that is going to be something for the court to decide, Mr. Brown, when you move on with that portion of your litigation.
Yes, ma'am.
But in this court here today, Mr. Landis, I have found you to be liable for the $3,700 in damages that Mr. Brown suffered because you did not follow the rules that are put in place to keep you and other passengers safe. With that said, judgment for the plaintiff for $3,700. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $3,700. Yusuf Menon claims his friend ruined his back and his wedding after she gave him a massage. Claudia Griffin says if Mr. Menon really wanted to get married, he shouldn't have cheated on her friend.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Menon versus Griffin. Mr. Menon, you are suing Ms. Griffin for $2,500. because you say you suffered injuries because of a massage she gave you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Explain to the court.
So my ex-fiance and I went to Miss Claudia here for a wedding present that she offered to us. When we went there, she did my ex-fiance perfectly fine. When she came to me, all of a sudden there's a whole lot of pain going on.
So you got a massage, you and your ex-fiance hired Miss Griffin to do a massage?
No, she offered us a massage.
She offered it to you. It was a gift.
Yes.
For your engagement?
For our wedding, which was the next day.
Oh, for your wedding?
Yes.
That was the next day. And you said ex-fiance.
Yes.
Okay, so this is gonna be good, Sean.
I think so.
So you get a massage and you say for your ex-fiance it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then with you, there was a lot of pain.
Yes.
Okay, when you say pain, what does that mean? Because I know I don't like those deep tissue massages because they are painful on purpose. So what was the pain?
This time it felt like there was just a sharp pain that I've never experienced before.
So Ms. Griffin, you gave Mr. Menon a massage?
Yes, ma'am. I gave them a massage for their wedding present.
Was it your first time giving Mr. Menon a massage?
No, I've gave them both massages before.
Oh, so they were past clients of yours?
Yes, ma'am.
But this massage was a gift because they were getting married the next day?
Yes, ma'am. And he complains that now that there was pain during the procedure, but I asked him several times during the procedure, is this okay? He kept telling me to go deeper, like with this macho attitude, like he said that he can take it. And so I'm gonna get a client what he asked for.
And so hold on, Mr. Menon, so you, during the massage, you were telling Ms. Griffin that you wanted more pressure?
Yes, I go to the gym on a regular basis, and you have to really dig deep to get through the muscles.
But you just said I was hurting you the whole time, so why would you tell me to go deeper if I'm asking you, is this okay? And you're telling me that it's fine, but now you're telling me that there was pain the whole time.
Right. And you're telling me the same thing, and it doesn't make sense. Make it make sense.
He's a liar, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor. She wasn't going as deep as needed to relieve the pain that was there.
So you're thinking that was a pain that you had in your back or whatever, and that if she massaged deeper, that it would then take that knot out.
Which has happened before, yes.
Okay, so you are admitting in open court right now that you were telling her you wanted more pressure in this massage.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So you asked for more pressure. She gave it. So why are you suing her for $2,500? What happened?
Now, due to the fact that my wedding was the next day, and she's clearly against us being happy together.
Why is that, Yosef? Why would I be against you guys?
Wait a minute. How did we skip to that?
Yeah. Why would I be
we
against
done
you
gone
guys
from
being together?
massage to she's not happy you're with your fiance?
She's had problems with us before.
I've never had a problem with you before, Yosef. Why would I even be here? Why would I give you a massage, offer you a massage?
All right, hold on. I don't have all day. So tell me what's really going on.
What's really going on is this: we're here out of spite. He's upset with me because he's cheated on Paula, and
Who's Paula? The fiance?
Yes,
ex-fiance?
my friend and his ex-fiance.
Paul, stand up. You brought Paula as a witness.
Yes.
Ms. Deb, so you are the ex-fiance.
I am.
And your massage went just fine.
My massage went fine. His did too. He's just mad.
So you remember his reaction after he got the massage?
Yes.
What was it?
He was fine when we walked out. I actually saw him hurt himself the week before. He was putting together a home gym in our garage. He tweaked his back and was complaining about it the whole time. When we got there, he kept telling her to go deeper. She did, and he was like, this don't faze me, because he wanted to be macho all the time, and he was fine. Afterwards, we had my bachelorette party, to which, when she disclosed to me that she knew he was cheating on me. So I called off the wedding. Now all of a sudden his back hurt and he wanted to bring somebody to court.
Exactly.
Coming up.
Were you having an affair with someone while you were engaged to your fiance?
I wouldn't call it an affair.
What would you call it?
And later.
Paul is following me around and still in his robe. He's kind of lingering as I'm doing my chores.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Is following you around the house?
Yes, while I'm doing my chores.
In his robe?
We're back with the case of Yusuf Menon and Claudia Griffin, who are fighting over a massage injury.
You say you saw him injure his back. Ms. Griffin, did you have them sign a waiver or, an acknowledgement of prior issues with their body?
As far as paperwork, no, ma'am, because these are my friends. We have done these massages before. I do have a normal procedure for my other clients where they fill out a checklist.
Did you bring that checklist
yes,
with
I
you?
did. Yes, I
May
did.
I see it, please?
My license is also in there. I've been doing this for 10 years. I've never had a
Thank you.
problem before, so I've
Your
never had a problem.
license is here.
Yes.
And then this is the paperwork you have clients fill out.
Yes.
On their first visit to you, did they fill this out?
The first time I've ever worked with them, I did have them fill out something.
Do you remember them having any injuries? Did you bring that paperwork?
No, ma'am. That was years ago. We've been friends since college.
When you came in for this massage, did you ask both of the parties verbally, do you have any areas you want me to avoid or no?
Well, he had already told me that he was feeling pain, and this is the reason why I offered them the massage, because he said that he was having some pain and he wanted to have a pain-free day, the day of his wedding.
I told you I was sore.
Right, but you did not disclose to me that you had an injury.
All right. What evidence do you have that Ms. Griffin injured you?
So I have my medical record from the day after. So instead of our wedding, I went to the hospital to have everything.
I'd like to see that. That evidence, please. So after the what?
After the massage.
I was going to say after the wedding, you didn't have no wedding, because we didn't even get to that part yet, because you got found out.
Right.
That part.
Talk about applying some pressure.
Right, that part.
You applied some pressure, all right. Were you having an affair with someone while you were engaged to your fiance?
I wouldn't call it an affair.
What would you call it?
More like an entanglement of spirit.
An entanglement of what?
Spiritual, like
He's a clown.
An entanglement of spirit.
He's a liar, a cheater,
Sean,
and a
you've
clown.
been in an entanglement of spirit?
Not this week, not last
Not
week,
this-
not ever.
Not this week. Listen, you got caught.
Mm-hmm.
And so what is this paperwork? A medical invoice?
It's a medical invoice and also the cost of a chair that I had to purchase in order so I could perform my job. There was no way I was able to
So a medical invoice of $2,000, what it took for you to get x-rays and a readjustment, and then you had to do a scan. Then you had to buy a chair, an ergonomic chair, because your back was killing you?
Yes, and I was unable to sit in the chair provided.
This is clear. Mr. Mena, listen. When you're gonna put together a whole piece of gym equipment, I can understand how your back could be sore or aching, right? When you go into a service, you should let your massage therapist know exactly what you've done and where you've gotten pain. Now, Ms. Griffin, I do have a problem with, even though they are friends, you need to understand why the paperwork you submitted to me is important. However, I do understand that if you have reoccurring clients, even at the place where I get massages, I do not do the paperwork every single time, but I have paperwork on file, and it is in the contract that if things are updated, I need to make sure I'm updating, and they also ask me verbally. What has been testified to today is that you did ask him. And he did respond that he was feeling some pain because he was sore. Yes. You also testified that you asked for more pressure. So in this court's opinion, you have not proved sufficiently that any injury or pain as a result of this massage was caused by the therapist, or was it caused because you already were sore or sustained some level of injury when you were putting together the equipment?
It wasn't a whole gym equipment.
Talking,
it was
Mr. Minute. Stop talking. Stop talking. Because what I see now is your issue is really not with her massage. Your issue is with her message that she relayed to your fiance.
Exactly.
And now, look, I only call it the way I see it in here. You in a massage full of pain talking about more pressure. That's what she's going to do. You can't then get up and say, well, now I'm injured, because you're not telling her that she's causing pain. Nothing. So this case is over because I can see clear through you. Mr. Manning, your case is dismissed. Judgment for the defendant. Court is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
And we're supposed to be friends.
No, you think this is
We're
funny,
supposed to be
Yosef?
friends.
Like,
No,
this
we've
is
been-
my business.
Oh, your business,
This is my
yes.
business.
Okay,
I
cute.
did you a favor.
You may
That's
now
the
enter
only reason why I
court.
agree
Baby,
with you
baby,
that
can
I
we-
wouldn't
Don't
go
baby
further.
me.
Coming up,
While he had his robe on and it was slightly open, that you felt uncomfortable, like he was potentially trying to hit on you.
Yes, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's why the other nannies didn't work out.
Paul and Melissa Francis claim their nanny took their money and a new job after they paid her to stick around. Jessica Cunningham says she couldn't stay once Mr. Francis behaved inappropriately.
This is the case of Francis versus Cunningham. Mr. and Mrs. Francis, you are suing Ms. Cunningham for $700 for breaking her nanny agreement. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yes, Your Honor.
Please explain to the court what happened.
Paul and I were going to go visit my parents in Philadelphia for 2 weeks. So as an incentive to keep her as our nanny till we got back, we offered her $700, which is basically her salary because we pay her $400 a week.
Did you accept this retainer, this amount, Ms. Cunningham?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so now what happened?
When we got back from vacation, she continued to work the rest of the week. And over the weekend, which she has off from us, she contacted me and let us know that she was no longer going to be nannying for us.
Oh, so when you got back, she quit?
Yes.
Your Honor, so I do have a text message here from them about these $700.
I'd like to see it.
Yes. So in here, it does not indicate that it was for an incentive for me to stay
Thank you,
with
Sean.
them permanently.
But the text message reads, let me see this. It says, hey, we know you want full-time work. Our family's going to go on vacation for 2 weeks and wanted to make sure you're taken care of. We'll be sending you $700 for the missing 2 weeks.
Yeah, so the $700, I accepted it in a way that, lawyers also have a retainer fee. So even if they give you their services or not, they still get paid. And that's kind of what I do.
That's not how it works. When you just happen to be talking to one. When you give a lawyer a retainer fee, they work off the billable hours for the retainer. You didn't do that.
Coming up,
He's still in his robe. He's kind of moving around. The robe's also shifting, so I'm looking away because obviously I don't want to see what's under there.
The robe is open?
back with a dispute between Paul and Melissa Francis and their former nanny, Jessica Cunningham, over a retainer.
Why do you quit when they get back?
So that week that I was working with them, it was a normal week. Monday through Wednesday was perfectly fine. On Thursday, however, during my morning routines, I put Thomas down for his nap. And as I was leaving the room, I saw Paul out in the hallway in the robe. And he said, oh, I thought I heard Thomas crying. And I told him, no, I put him down for his nap, he's okay. And so usually when in the mornings I have a routine, I clean up the mess that we made that morning, I prep his snacks. And as I was doing all of my regular chores, Paul is following me around and still in his robe. He's kind of lingering as I'm doing my chores.
Mr. Francis?
Yes.
Is following you around the house?
Yes, while I'm doing my chores.
In his robe?
Yes.
Okay, saying and doing what?
He was asking me what my plans were for the weekend. He was asking if I was, kind of like a big party person. And, he's still in his robe. He's kind of moving around. The robe's also shifting, so I'm looking away because obviously I don't want to see what's under there.
The robe is open?
It's slightly open.
And he doesn't have on pajama bottoms or anything?
It's just a robe.
Okay, but once he realized that he was okay, why wouldn't he go back and put some pants on?
Yes, I was in my robe. I was not following her around. I'm in my home. I'm setting up, I'm getting a bagel, I'm setting up my workstation. I'm just doing my own routine.
And were you asking her if she liked to party and what her plans were?
I did ask her what her plans were for the weekend. I thought it was innocent small talk. I honestly didn't feel any uncomfortableness coming from her, and I didn't think I was overstepping my boundary or like being inappropriate in a robe.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
So, Ms. Cunningham, are you testifying that while he had his robe on and it was slightly open, he was potentially trying to hit on you?
Yes, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that's why the other nannies didn't work out.
Oh. All right, so the bottom line is you felt like he might be a little creepy, which I get. As a woman, I encourage you to own your power. If you feel uncomfortable somewhere, speak up, say something. Did she ever address this with you?
No. She did not.
All right, so instead, you're a young girl. Instead of going and addressing it, you just said, you know what, I'm gonna go take this full-time job somewhere else. Where you're wrong is you took the $700 when you knew they were giving it to you so that you would not go work for another family. For this reason, it is the judgment of this court. I am actually not going to award them this full $700 because I do feel like there was something there that, Mr. Francis, in the future, you need to be more mindful when you have young women in your home, how you're dressed, how you behave. For that reason, I am going to order that you return to them half of the $700. Judgment for the plaintiff for $350. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the co-plaintiffs. The defendant owes $350. Janae Baker claims her ex-lover stepped out on her while they were on vacation and refuses to pay her back. Chandler Sanchez admits he ran into an old fling, but swears nothing happened.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Thank you, Sean. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Baker versus Sanchez. Ms. Baker, you are suing Mr. Sanchez for $925 on bad debt that you say he didn't pay.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Explain to the court what happened.
Yes, I am here today to sue Mr. Sanchez for $925 because he committed to pay for his half of our vacation to Cancun, and he has yet to do so.
Well, take me back. I want to understand the nature of the relationship, this trip you decided to take. Give me the details, please.
Absolutely. So I met Mr. Sanchez at the gym. He was my personal trainer for a couple months, and then we ended up falling for each other. He was very gentle and kind in the beginning. We had a loving relationship. We've been together about 4 years now, and it's been very rocky the past couple of years. And we take an annual trip, revive our relationship, get some time away from the world. I was super excited about going to Cancun after he chose, I don't have a reason to lie, Your Honor. After he chose Cancun specifically, I was excited. I said, okay, I'll swipe my credit card for $1,850. And he knows that our agreement, which we've had year after year after year, is that you pay me back via Venmo at the end of the vacation.
Do you have evidence of that charge?
I absolutely do, Your Honor.
May I see it, please?
For the past 2 years, there's been 3 years that we have gone on the trip, but I only have the receipts for the past 2 years where he's Venmo'd me the difference. This is a charge for $1,850. That's the total for 6 days, 5 nights at the all-inclusive resort that I paid for the two of us.
Ooh, that's good.
$320 a day. And then there was a $250 resort fee, so that totals $1,850. So half of that is $925, which is owed to me, and that's why I'm here today.
Got it. And I do see the charge going on your account. This other evidence you're showing the court is payment details from Venmo activity.
Yes, from the past vacation. So the past 2 years, those are the receipts I have of him paying me back the half that he owes me via Venmo.
Around, in 2020 and 2021.
Yes.
Which I've tried to do on this recent trip, Your Honor.
Oh, you did try to pay her back on this recent trip?
I did, yes.
Oh, well, tell us, Mr. Sanchez, how were you not successful Venmoing her $925?
She would not accept the money that I was going to give her, and the money was more than fair for the time that we spent.
$320 is not fair.
What?
We spent one night together. One night.
You made a commitment, Chandler, that you would pay me back the $925.
Not with the way you were treating me.
Why did you only try to give her back $300?
Because she was coming down on me constantly. Constant jealousy, constant bickering. I couldn't take it anymore. I had to get out of there. I had to just get into another space.
So on the first, y'all been together 4 years. You get to Cancun and start fighting on the first day?
Pretty much. We were on the flight. We had a great flight. And we were lovey-dovey. It was off to a great start. But when we got to the hotel, that's when I noticed the shift happened. It's like a switch. He got really distant. He started to ignore me and not respond. And
that was all you.
All right, so switch top. I mean, I know women, we have our intuition. We know when you're acting funny, Mr. Sanchez, just so you know.
So there was a discrepancy at the hotel. I got us a presidential suite, but they booked us for a regular room. So the person that we were having an exchange with at the counter, he didn't like that interaction.
Your Honor, she would just berating the worker
We had a
there.
conversation.
They were just starting there.
I asked for the
was trying
manager.
to calm her down, but she wouldn't let it go.
We got it taken care of, and we got our suite.
Okay, so what happens next? She's gotten on your nerves because you felt like she was doing too much as she addressed the issue about the suite.
Yeah.
You get the suite. What happens after that?
We go to dinner. Dinner is cold. It's not fun. It's not anything that I imagined that this trip would be. And it was just distant and cold. So we went home or went back to the hotel and slept. And in the morning when I woke up, he was gone.
After the first night?
That is not the way it
Where
went
did you
down.
go,
That is
Mr.
not what
Sanchez?
happened. I just took a walk in the morning. That was it. We spent the night together. We tried to make it work, but she wouldn't let go the earlier part of the evening. And I stayed. All I did was take a walk in the morning. I wanted to clear my head and make sure I was good.
And when he came back, he started packing his bags.
Coming up.
What did this lady say to you?
She ended up looking up hashtag Cancun, and she saw our picture. So she said, hey, it looks like we were on a trip with the same guy. And I'm like, hold on, wait, what's going on?
And later.
I am a devout vegan. I am an animal rights activist. And she knew this and styled me in animal products without my knowledge.
We're back with a dispute between ex-lovers Janae Baker and Chandler Sanchez over vacation expenses.
I came to the decision that it was best that if we got separate rooms for the duration of the vacation, just to kind of make things a bit more calm for us.
After just one night of arguing?
She wouldn't let it go. Everything was just like bickering and coming down on me, bringing up stuff from the past.
Like?
All right, so this is your receipt.
Like the cookout.
You went over there and paid
$1,000.
$1,000?
He decided to
For
pay.
how many nights? 4 nights.
4 nights.
So you went and got another hotel room for 4 nights. Did you all see each other again for the rest of the vacation?
Yes, we did.
We did. We had one breakfast.
We were going to have dinner, but she just kept going on and on about it.
So he obviously was with someone else.
Being jealous over nothing, over the waitress that we had the night before.
Well, we've got some fidelity issues.
Wait, what happened to with the waitress?
Nothing happened. She's just trying to serve us. We're on vacation.
Let's talk about the cookout.
Come on.
Right before this.
Oh, here we go with the cookout again.
Well, why don't you tell your
There's
Honor
nothing to tell.
about the cookout.
There's nothing to tell.
What happened at the cookout?
So there's a cousin who mistook some girl who was there for me, and it gets back to me like, hey, I thought you were going to be at the cookout.
So you don't think he's being faithful to you?
Oh, I'm almost certain. Well, I am certain that he is not. He's had infidelity issues in the past.
How are you certain? I mean, I know he got missing.
So I was contacted on Instagram by a young lady who states that she was the one spending time with him while he was in Cancun on his beach walks.
There was nobody spending time with me.
What did this lady say to you?
She ended up looking up hashtag Cancun, and she saw our picture. So she said, hey, it looks like we were on a trip with the same guy. And I'm like, hold on, wait, what's going on? So I do have evidence here if you would like to see the text thread and photographs of him with this woman. So she sent me these photos, and she sent me information about their trip and how they were hanging out at the jazz club. They went zip lining,
we didn't go
scuba
anywhere.
diving,
We
all
didn't
the
do no
things that
zip
we were
lining.
supposed to
We didn't do
Let's
nothing.
get some order. I'm looking at this evidence. So she writes to you, I know you don't know me, but I was in Mexico with Chan, that's short for Chandler, this weekend, and I saw your picture. You got the wrong girl.
Right.
And you I have a picture to prove we're together. You said, send it, I'd love to see. And then sure enough, she sent a picture.
At the bar, having a great time.
Your Honor, that's not even,
I haven't
that's
seen
not
that
true.
smile,
Come
and I
on,
don't
you know
know
that's
how.
not
This is
true.
definitely you, Mr. Sanchez.
That can't be me. Your Honor, please.
He believes his own lies.
Let me know that they were in town with friends. I said, cool. She was bugging. I said, let's go.
Oh, so
Was
you're
I, or were you
admitting
the
that
one that left?
woman, you're admitting that the woman was there.
She was there, but not for me. She was with her
You're
friends.
saying she came on her own.
Yes.
That's what he's saying.
And you met up with her.
Her and her friends, yes.
Ms. Baker, you say you brought a witness to court?
Yes, I actually do have a witness.
I'd like to hear from your witness. Sean, will you please escort Ms. Baker's witness into the courtroom?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, my, what is this?
Hi, Chandler.
Please state your name for the court.
Sky Long.
Ms. Long, if I'm not mistaken, you're the woman I just looked at in the photos.
So I've known Mr. Sanchez for a while. We dated back in the day, a long time ago. So I was in Cancun with a group of friends for a birthday, and I saw he was also there online on Facebook. So, I hit him up, see if he wanted to link. And so we hung out the whole trip. He told me he was single.
We did not hang out the whole trip.
He told me
the whole
trip.
She said you told her you were single.
Yes.
Right.
And that
I
he
didn't
wanted
say
to
I
get
was
back
single. I
together.
said I wanted a
He said
single
that was the
drink.
best thing that ever happened to him. He wanted to rekindle. Yes.
No, come on.
Yes, he was all up on me, kissing on me.
Your Honor, no, all I wanted to do was go to my room to get my wallet, and I told her to just wait outside.
No,
and she
Your
wanted to
Honor.
come in.
He invited me up. He wanted me to see the view.
There was no view.
And so did you go into his room?
Yes,
And
I
what
went into his
happened?
room. I was there for a few days.
Yeah.
The
Sean, I thought she said I was there for a few minutes.
The rest
She
of the
said a few
vacation.
days.
This is who you went on vacation with.
No, Your Honor.
And, Your Honor, I didn't know that he was there with her. Had I known, I would have never even invited him to come,
So
to be
you
with
ended up
us.
spending the rest of the vacation with Mr. Sanchez.
As well as with my friends, correct.
We know exactly what happened here. The bottom line is this. Ms. Baker, when you charge something on your credit card, you are responsible to pay that credit card for the amount. I don't see anything in writing. Neither one of you have presented anything that says we're going to go on vacation and we are going to split this half and half. But what you did do, which is important, is you supplied the court with additional evidence. And I see you Venmoing her half of the money for the trips you've taken together. You agreed to go on vacation with her. Y'all fell out. What you really should have done was figured out how to work it out. But instead, you decided to move out of the room and move in, right, with Ms. Long. That's your choice. That does not change the fact that you agreed to incur the expense together, which is evidenced by how you all took vacations in the past. I can tell. You were supposed to give her the money. And guess what? You're going to give it to her. Judgment for the plaintiff for $925.
Oh, come
Pay her
on,
her money.
Judge.
And quit being such a creep.
Come on.
Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $925.
Your Honor,
Lose my
please.
number. Don't ever call me again. You're trash.
No, you're going to pick up my phone call.
Listen, you need to stop harassing women and stop using women.
I'm not
Stop
using
lying to
anybody.
women,
You need to
and
calm
you need to
down.
get
See,
yourself
look
together.
at you.
Ashamed of yourself.
The courtroom. Look
You
at
need
you.
to get yourself
You ought to
together.
be
Look at
ashamed
both
of
of you.
yourself.
Yeah, look at that.
Coming up,
Your Honor, I find that it's, to be frank, is oftentimes inappropriate for me to pick apart the morals of my clients and why they choose to live their lifestyle.
Piper Jenkins claims her stylist knew she was a devout vegan, but dressed her in clothes made of animal products anyway. Tallulah Edison claims the plaintiff saw the options and never said a word.
Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Jenkins versus Edison. Ms. Jenkins, you are suing Ms. Edison for $3,000. You say she was negligent while she did her job as a stylist. She knew you were a vegan and she put you in clothes made of leather. Is
Yes,
that
Your Honor.
correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Please explain what happened.
Your Honor, I'm a country pop singer. I worked with Miss Edison recently on my third music video. I spoke to her before and had a meeting with her, and I showed her posts from my Instagram. I am a devout vegan. I am an animal rights activist. I have never worn animal products in any of my work before, and she knew this and styled me in animal products without my knowledge. And I now can't use the music video, and I am suing her for the cost to film another one.
All right, so Ms. Edison, did you put Ms. Jenkins in animal products knowing that she was a vegan?
Your Honor, I did put her in animal products, knowing she was a vegan. However, when we met, she did not specify that by vegan she meant she doesn't wear any form of animal product. I work with many vegans. I'm very well respected in that community, and I know many who wear leather shoes, and never did Ms. Jenkins specify that.
Were you speaking directly with Ms. Jenkins or with members of her team?
I was speaking directly with Ms. Jenkins.
Coming up,
When you looked at these options, did you ever say, hi, I just want to confirm that these are going to be faux and not real leather?
No, I didn't, Your Honor.
we're back with Piper Jenkins and Tallulah Edison, who are arguing over leather clothing.
Your Honor, I have Instagram posts. I have
I'd like to
photos
see them,
here.
please.
If you would like to see them,
Take
yes.
all.
Yes.
I'll take it all.
Okay, thank you. These are some of the posts that I showed her in our first meeting.
None of that's about leather, Your Honor.
And so you also included the cost of your music video, which is $2,500.
Yes.
Ms. Edison, I do want to ask you, though, because you say you deal a lot with vegans.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Would that be a natural question that you would ask directly to a client?
Your Honor, I find that it's, to be frank, is oftentimes inappropriate for me to pick apart the morals of my clients and why they choose to live their lifestyle.
Do you do study on the client that you are servicing?
Yes, Your Honor.
So did you ever give her leather goods to wear in the past?
This was the first time I had worked with Miss Jenkins. We met twice before she shot this music video, and I do have, Your Honor, the pictures of the portfolio that I offered her the second time we met.
I'd like to see that.
Of course.
Okay.
This outlined her options and what I would put her in for this video.
So did you give her the pictures, or did you give her the pictures along with the designer names?
I gave her the pictures. There are no labels on the items because we were custom making each of these pieces for her.
When you looked at these options, did you ever say, hi, I just want to confirm that these are going to be faux and not real leather?
No, I didn't, Your Honor. But as you can see from my Instagram posts, I work with a lot of substitute materials that mimic the properties of leather. And
I get that, but I'm saying, when you saw these, did you confirm that?
No, Your Honor.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
This is a clear case of just failure to communicate. When you are the artist, it is very hard to dot every I and cross every T. I also feel like, Miss Edison, had you said to me that I had never worked with the vegan community, she told me she didn't eat meat, and I didn't know that meant she didn't wear it. It is for that reason that I do feel like you both share in the responsibility for the failure of this music video. Out of litigation comes lessons. One, Ms. Jenkins, you understanding that in whatever documentation, whatever contract you do, people are clear on what your demands, expectations, and values are. And also, Ms. Edison, I think you need to understand, if this is a community that you are going to service, right, that you have to do a little due diligence and read about and understand clearly, right, what some of the boundaries may be, expectations may be. It is for this reason I think both of you need to share in the responsibility for the damages that have been occurred here. And so my judgment will be for the plaintiff for $1,500. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,500. Ashley Mansfield claims she was wrongly evicted after her landlord ignored her complaints. Daniel Foster claims he followed the law before giving Ms. Mansfield notice to vacate.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Thank you so much, Sean. Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Mansfield versus Foster. Ms. Mansfield, you are suing Mr. Foster for $4,500 for wrongful eviction.
Yes.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
Please
Judge.
explain to the court what happened.
Well, I moved into the apartment 4 years ago. I did a lease, and then it turned into month to month.
Okay, so 4 years.
Yes, 4 years. And I was paying $1,500 a month. Now, what had happened, he wrongfully evicted me because he told me that he handed me a paper and he said, this is an eviction for being, this is for being a nuisance and harassing me. And the eviction notice was because I was asking for repairs. And he wouldn't do anything to help with the safety of the unit.
Thank you so much. Mr. Foster, I'd like to hear from you.
Certainly, Your Honor.
Did you evict Ms. Mansfield because she consistently asked for certain situations to be remedied on the property?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, what is your response to her testimony?
I really do care about my tenants, and I've tried to be accommodating to her. She calls me 100 times a day. I have a phone log here I'd like to submit.
I'd like to see that, sir.
Please. Honestly, Your Honor, I can't run a business when someone is calling me 24 hours a day. She calls me about a stoppage of a sink or a tub. We do our very, very best to accommodate our tenants as quickly as possible, but I can't be there in 15 minutes. It's just unreasonable.
This is almost 20 calls in a span of 2 weeks.
Your Honor, he was not answering the calls. The tub was stopped up. The drainage, it would not go out. But he finally did call me once, and he told me that I needed to take a bath in the kitchen sink. And I thought that was very rude.
The kitchen sink?
A kitchen sink, Your Honor.
Did you say that, Mr. Foster?
I might have made a comment out of frustration, Your Honor. I do have a number of things that we have done for the apartment.
I'd like to see that.
That's not
what have you done for the unit?
Okay, first of all, she wanted new lighting. We did that. Okay?
Because the lighting wasn't working. You had to do it. We had to have light.
What I'd like to hear from you is, did you put any of your concerns in writing?
Yes, I sent him several emails. And I told him, I said, I need these items repaired. I need the bathtub repaired. I had standing water. Eventually, I did have to take a bucket and take the water out. My garbage disposal wasn't working. My ceiling fan wasn't working. He wasn't repairing anything.
Mr. Foster, what else did you do?
It's just remarkable, Your Honor. I have 50 tenants, and I probably spend 75% of my time just with Miss Mansfield.
No,
I have a tenant actually that's come here today that is part of our building. Maybe it's an opportunity for him to share.
I'll hear from your witness now. Please stand, sir. State your name for the court.
My name is Mark Penske, Your Honor.
Mr. Penske, what would you like to offer to the court in terms of your experience living in this building?
I have been living in this unit for a little over a year now, and in that time I haven't had any issues with Mr. Foster regarding maintenance or taking care of my space.
And so when you see a former tenant like Ms. Mansfield, who has struggled to get repairs done, this is what she testifies to, and ultimately was asked to leave, what is your opinion about how her experience differs from yours?
Well, Ms. Mansfield definitely made her opinions known to the other tenants. I heard about it several times myself. I would be shocked if nobody came to take care of any of the issues since I've been
How much do you pay a month?
I pay $29.95 a month.
Okay.
Coming up.
I can tell that you really wanted to move on from this tenant because you never planned to satisfy any of her demands, because you really wanted that unit back, because for a 2-bedroom, you probably could get $39.95 for that.
And later.
I am deathly afraid to even walk out on a dock.
So you did not see it as it happened?
No.
So how can you tell this court that it was the boot?
The dock is solid. It needs repair, Carl.
We're back with a dispute between Ashley Mansfield and Daniel Foster over a wrongful eviction.
Your Honor, I have a list of competitive complexes and their pricing.
I'd like to see that. So the bottom line is, Ms. Mansfield was paying $1,500 a month. Your new tenants are paying $29.95. How many bedrooms was in your unit?
2.
And how many are in yours, Mr. Penske?
Just 1.
So you getting a 2-bedroom for $1,500 a month, and you paying $29.95 for a 1-bedroom.
But his was renovated, and he got a smart fridge.
Do you feel like he was giving preferential treatment to the new tenants?
Definitely.
Who are moving in with the higher rents and the renovated units? So basically kind of trying to smoke you out. Like
that's exactly.
So you'd move. What else was going on, Ms. Mansfield?
Another safety issue that I was very concerned about. He said 50 units. He was renovating a lot of units. And one of the units above me, they did so much renovation that my bedroom ceiling was coming down. That was another call.
I think what Ms. Mansfield might mean is
call.
not her ceiling was coming down, but sometimes when there's a lot of hard knocking or hammering, right, you might get some dust from the plaster of the ceiling.
Right, but listen, out of concern for that tenant that lives underneath the apartment that is being refurbished or renovated, does your team come down and knock on the door and say, hi, I know we're doing a lot in here, just want to make sure everything's okay?
We try to, Your Honor. I know that is our policy, and we also have things posted in the lobby notifying the tenants that there is some construction going on.
But when she called about that, since you don't answer her calls, you didn't hear about that either. So it went unanswered.
I'd have to check my records, Your Honor, but it's possible. We are making a number of different changes in the building.
Okay, and what else, Ms.
The
Mansfield?
most stressful was the fact that my refrigerator kept going in and out. And I just heard that he got a retro refrigerator, but I called to complain about that. No calls. And Your Honor, I had food that spoiled. I did take ice and I made a make-do ice chest, but I shouldn't have to do that. And I had food spoiled. I told Daniel, I said, look, can you help me can you come get me a new refrigerator, get me a used refrigerator? Have somebody come fix the refrigerator. Again, he said I was being a nuisance. That was my new name. I thought my name wasn't Mansfield anymore. I thought it was a nuisance.
All right. And so how much notice did you give Mr. Foster when you decided that you were ready to end the tenancy of Ms. Mansfield? How much notice did you give her?
We had notified her for initial one, she tore it up, and then 30 days later we gave her a 30-day notice. So it was like a total of 60 days, but she tore up the first one.
You gave her one at 60 days. You say she tore it up. You tore it up out of frustration, Ms. Mansfield?
He gave me 30 days. He said it was a nuisance
That 30 days
violation.
later, we gave it.
He said it was a nuisance violation. I didn't know it was an eviction. He said this is a nuisance violation.
Okay. The truth is that when you are on a month-to-month tenancy, a landlord really doesn't have to have cause to evict you. At the same time, Mr. Foster, I can tell that you really wanted to move on from this tenant because you never planned to satisfy any of her demands, because you really wanted that unit back, because for a 2-bedroom, you probably could get $39.95 for that. And I see what's happening here. His building, he could tell, had the opportunity to make a lot more money. And let me say this. I do serve as judge of this courtroom, but I am a businesswoman, Mr. Foster, and I have owned real estate, and I do understand that when you're making your living owning real estate, sometimes refurbishing that real estate is in your best interest. But when you do that, you cannot neglect the tenants who are still living in your original units.
Yes, Your Honor.
Even if they're on month-to-month tenancies. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So a bathtub that's all clogged up and she can't bathe, you jokingly telling her, well, take a bath in the sink. I don't care if it's out of frustration or what. Your immediate concern is what is required, because having livable conditions in your units, that's what's lawful.
Unfortunately,
I don't need to hear anything else. I don't need another excuse, because you already admitted that this was happening. A refrigerator going on and on. She's losing food, putting things on ice. That's unacceptable. And then a ceiling who feels like it's falling in, plaster falling down in her bedroom, which is where she sleeps, potentially on her head. That's unacceptable and unsafe. And as old as you say this unit is, I mean, there's also lead-based paint issues. So I've heard enough. It is the determination of this court that although you were able by law to terminate the tenancy because it was a month-to-month and you gave proper notice, Ms. Mansfield, you deserve to have sound living conditions while you were there. For the final 2 months you were there, you paid $1,500 for each one of those months in rent. Therefore, it has been determined by this court, judgment for the plaintiff for $3,000. Court is adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $3,000.
You know I should have gotten the $4,500.
You'll get your money. You're never satisfied, so I hope when you find your new place.
I found a new place and I bought it.
Coming up.
Apparently I tripped. I broke my ankle in 3 places. I thought I was going to go in the water. The dock was... It's not stable.
My assertion is that she was careless and reckless, and that she wore this.
I tripped over it, Carl.
Susan Alvarez claims she broke her ankle while taking a walk on her neighbor's neglected dock. Carl Wallace claims it was the plaintiff's inappropriate boots that caused her to fall.
This is the case of Alvarez versus Wallace. Ms. Alvarez, you're suing Mr. Wallace for
about $3,200 for personal injuries sustained after you attended a barbecue in his backyard and fell on his dock. Is
That's
that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Tell me what happened.
Carl had a barbecue, and he invited family and friends over and to go out to the dock to see the sunset, you know, have drinks and things like that. And I'm deathly afraid of the water. But as I was walking out there, I tripped, and I broke my ankle in 3 places. I thought I was going to go in the water. The dock it's not stable.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Mr. Wallace, what is your assertion?
My assertion is that she was careless and reckless, and that she wore this out onto the dock.
I can wear anything that I want.
I'm not claiming about style. I'm claiming about safety and what you would do on a dock.
Hold on one second, Mr. Wallace. You holding up a boot. Is this Miss Alvarez's boot or a boot like she had on?
This is the boot that broke the panels on the dock.
You're saying that boot broke the panel on your dock?
Yes.
And I say no. I have proof of this dock that I tripped on.
Let me see this proof. Sean, hand me her evidence. So what is this a picture of? Or what is
the dock. This is where I fell. I fell over that.
That's not true, Your Honor.
Coming up.
Did you see this as it happened?
No.
So you did not see it as it happened?
No.
So how can you tell this court that it was the boot?
We're back with neighbors Susan Alvarez and Carl Wallace, who are blaming each other for an ankle injury.
Mr. Wallace, were you there?
I was there, but I was not on the dock at the time.
Where were you?
Well, I was back with the rest of the group. I saw her.
Did you see this as it happened?
No.
So you did not see it as it happened?
No.
So how can you tell this court that it was the boot that caused the damage to the dock?
Because that picture is after the fact. I'm telling you, the dock is solid.
Do you have evidence of the bills, the damages you sustained
I certainly
from
do,
falling,
Your Honor.
Ms. Alvarez? So
Yes,
after you fell, everybody ran out there. Is this all your evidence? Is this all you brought to court today?
Yes, ma'am, that's all I have.
So everybody ran out to the dock to see if you were okay, right?
Yes.
Including you, Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
Was your boot on or off?
It was still on.
The boot was still on?
Yes.
Okay.
The paramedics came and took it off.
All right. And then that's when you realized you had sustained injuries, and ultimately you were told that your ankle was fractured or broken in 3 places?
Yes, and I do need.
And these damages total, you had to have a surgery, consultations, physical therapy, crutches, an ankle boot for $3,210. All right. So, Mr. Wallace, I would like to hear from you.
Well, again, this is the line in the sand. This is not going to cross the Rubicon. That is after the fact. That is after she fell over it.
Right. And what I see in this court's opinion is that you've got a lot of space in between each board of your dock, even before the damage.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Now, I believe what you're saying is possible. The problem is as the owner of that property, you owe her, as an invitee, someone you invited to come to this barbecue, a duty of care. And if she did not have on the appropriate shoes to walk on your dock, you should have told her you cannot walk on the dock in those shoes.
Well, I didn't exactly examine everyone that came.
And that's where you went wrong. When you invite someone in your home, you have to look at what reasonable thing could occur. And tripping on a dock with boards that wide is something that could reasonably happen. And it is for that reason, it is this court's opinion that you do owe the plaintiff for the cost of her medical injuries, because her injuries were sustained on your property at a time when she was invited there. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,210.
Thank you,
Court is adjourned.
Thank you,
All
Your Honor.
rise.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $3,210.
Give me my boot.
Yeah, take your goddamn boot.
Well, you know what? You should get that dock fixed.
You may exit the courtroom now.
Ladies first.
Thank you.
Tiffany Stevenson claims her ex-boyfriend donated her belongings to get back at her after he cheated and they broke up. Kemp Kettle claims the plaintiff disappeared for a week, so he packed up her stuff.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
You may be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good day, everyone. All right, so this is the case of Stevenson versus Kettle. Ms. Stevenson, you are suing Mr. Kettle for $700, the value of clothes you say he gave to the Goodwill unauthorized. Explain.
So, Your Honor, like I never believed that I would be here or doing anything like this. So I was living in Atlanta and I met this man and I stopped my entire life for him and I moved here to be with him and everything. And 2 years in, he cheated on me and I gave him a second chance. I allowed him to be a better man, to stop what he was doing, to devote himself to our family, to us. And everything was fine for a while. And then the day after our 3rd year anniversary, a girl was banging in the front door saying that she was sleeping with him. They had been dating for 3 months. And I was done. I can't be with somebody like this. So I left the apartment. I couldn't see him. I couldn't be near him. His sister lives nearby. We're like best friends. And I stayed with her. And I finally called him and I said, look, we're done. I cannot be in this relationship anymore. You disrespect me all the time. You cheat on me. I left my entire life for him. I came here without knowing anybody or anything, and I came here for him, and he kept on doing those things.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Pause.
Sorry.
Mr. Kettle?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you take issue with anything Ms. Stevenson has said thus far?
Most of what she said I take issue with, yes, Your Honor.
Most of it?
Most of it, yes.
So you weren't in a relationship and then you cheated?
No, I was in a relationship with her, a very toxic relationship, and she did move in with me to California, and that's when her entire demeanor changed. She used to be very kind and sweet and encouraging to me when we were texting long distance and when I met her at the bar in Atlanta. When she moved in with me, all of a sudden she became very demanding, very demeaning. So I admit that I made some mistakes in this relationship. I should have, rather than find emotional and mental well-being in someone else, I should have found the courage to end the relationship beforehand.
Okay, didn't I just say, do you agree with what she said? And you said no, and then you just sat up here and just recited exactly pretty much what she said. You were in a relationship, it started going kind of bad, and you cheated.
I was not in a relationship that went bad. I was in a toxic relationship.
I did not. Toxic relationships are bad. So take me to the part where you leave and somehow he does something with your clothes. He takes them to the Goodwill?
So, no, he donated. I don't know what happened. He donated. That's what he said. I'm not sure exactly how it happened. That's what he said. So what happened is, after I was at his sister's house, where, we're best friends, I was staying with her, and she was like, I don't know how he got a woman like you, and I don't know why
that is
you
not what she
take
says to
this,
me
all
when she has
these
conversations
things.
with me.
He's very spoiled, and he's always been like this. So I was so broken because twice now he had cheated. Twice. I went to his sister. After 2-3 days, I called him and I said, we're done. I cannot be in a relationship with you anymore. This is really toxic. This is not good for me. I need some time off.
What did he say when you told him you can't be in the relationship anymore?
He begged me to stay. He was like, please.
That's not true. I did not beg you to stay.
He begged me. I wish his sister was here. She couldn't come here. I tried to get her here. She couldn't come here. His sister saw. He was begging me, begging me to stay.
That is
you
not
elevate
true.
my life. You make me better. You make me a better man. I want you to be a better man. And he brings the worst in me. He brings the worst in me. Your Honor, I try really hard to make it work, to do everything, but he cheats on me. I have a text message, Your Honor. You can
Let
see
me
that.
see the evidence,
Please,
Sean.
please see. He called me promiscuous. Me,
I never looked to anybody. I never did anything. I never gave him a reason for him to call me that.
So these are text messages from Mr. Kettle to you?
Yeah, between us.
Hey, I can't unlock the door. Can you open it? I'm not home.
I gave him, when I called him, we decided, look, I'm going to look for a place to live. But it's California and it's hard, so give me a little time to find.
You said I need to come shower and change my clothes.
Exactly. I paid for 1 month to stay, and I said, we're not going to be in a relationship. We're going to be not roommates, but like we're going to live together until I find a place. And he said,
this is after you left with the sister? You came back?
Yes.
Coming up.
Finally, when I could get in, he was standing there, and then he was like, you'll have 20 minutes, go. And I'm trying to get my stuff, and when I look, almost everything that I had was in trash bags, all piled up in the corner.
We're back with exes Tiffany Stevenson and Kemp Kettle, who are in court fighting over lost belongings.
Mr. Kettle, so you told her you have some nerve.
Yes, this is...
I haven't heard from you in a week, and now you want to move quick since you're back? I was worried about you.
These text messages...
So you were worried when she disappeared?
Yes, these text messages are actually from after we had already broken up and established that she was going to stay in the apartment until she found a place. Then she went to a bar with my sister and disappeared for a week. I texted her. I called her.
It was 4 days. Your Honor, I can explain what happened. It was 4 days. So what happened is this. After I talked with him, I was crying. I was kind of like in a depressive mode. His sister said, like, let's cheer you up, let's put music, let's go out. And I was like, okay, let's go out. We went out. I was in the bar, and I met this guy called John. And I don't know if you ever met somebody that you feel like you live another life with that person because it's so like common and it's so safe and it's so nice. And we kept talking, me, him, and Tia. The three of us were talking, having all the stuff.
All right.
So he invited me to spend a few days in Tahoe. I have never...
On the night you met him?
On the night I met him. I came back and I went to my apartment where I pay rent for 1 month. I put the key in, the key wouldn't work. The key wouldn't work. And I tried many times. I text him, I'm trying to get home. I need to go change. I need to get my stuff. He's not answering. He's ignoring me. Then he was like, yeah, I changed the key lock. I did all the stuff. I couldn't get into my own apartment.
That you paid rent for?
I paid rent for.
Was your name on the lease?
No, because what happened is he lives in a place that is rent control. And when we came in, I came in after I went to his apartment. If you put me on the lease, the rent goes higher and then changes everything. So he was like, let's keep you without the lease so the rent is lower because it's a rent control thing. And I was like, oh, okay. I want the best for us. So if we can save money, let's do it. I couldn't get in.
And then what happened?
I texted him, nothing from him. I went to his sister.
That's not true. I texted you right back.
No, you text me later.
I'll give you a chance to respond, Mr.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I went to his sister, and I'm trying. For 48 hours, I couldn't get into the apartment. Finally, when I could get in, he was standing there, and then he was like, you have 20 minutes, go. And I was like, okay, and I was already like, it was such a weird situation because it's been 3 years, and I'm trying to get my stuff, and when I look, almost everything that I had was in trash bags, all piled up in the corner. And he was like, you can just get and go. And
Did you have her things in a trash bag, Mr. Kettle?
No, Your Honor. I had her things in a series of duffel bags that I'd set neatly by the front door in the hallway. What had actually happened was she left for Tahoe for about a week. I did not know what was going on with her. I texted her several times because our agreement was that she would stay in the apartment until she found a place of her own. That was the agreement. So I'm not hearing anything from her for a week. I make a group chat with her and my sister. I'm saying, you know, if you don't hear back from Tiff in a day or so, I'm going to file a missing persons report because I don't know what's going on with her.
You're genuinely worried?
I'm genuinely worried.
Do you have any evidence you brought today?
I do, yes, Your Honor.
May
I have
I see
these
it?
text messages, chains.
And these text messages are presented to the court to show what?
To show that I did text her several times while she was gone. She did not respond to any of those text messages.
Your Honor, Tiff, are you okay? Why aren't you answering my calls? It's been 3 days. Where are you? Just let me know you're okay. Text me or Tia if you're okay. It's been a week. This is crazy. Please respond. I'm worried about you.
Your Honor, may I answer, please?
No. Hey, Tia, if I don't hear from you, Tiffany, I'm going to file a missing persons report. It's been 2 days. Hey, bro, Tiffany just texted me. She says she's okay and we'll be home later. Can you tell her to answer my text? I'm worried about her. She said, don't worry, she's home soon. So the bottom line is you were blowing her up because you thought something had happened to her when she disappeared for a week.
I did.
Did you change the locks on the door?
I did, Your Honor. I did change the locks.
Did you change the locks? You're so worried about her. This is where she lives and her things are, but you changed the locks.
I was worried about her, and then I got that message from my sister Tia that said she's fine. But so I'm assuming that, okay, well, she's fine. She hasn't responded to me. She hasn't communicated to me. So I'm assuming she's not coming back. She has gone off for a few days before and not communicated. So I'm assuming she's not.
Mr. Kettle, I wasn't born yesterday. You were not assuming that she was never coming back. All her things were there. You were assuming that she was with another man and you were furious about it, so you changed the lock so she couldn't get in the house.
That is not true, Your Honor. I was assuming that she had found another place, like we had discussed.
So she found another place and was never going to have to be able to get into that place to get her things?
I welcomed her to get back to get her things.
So take me to that part. Okay. When did you say you can come get your things? Because I already see what's happening. I mean, this is obvious. This is obvious. This is classic breakup. You getting back at him. Then, of course, you know, y'all men can dish it out. You can't take it. So then once she went off, then you got mad and changed the locks. And then once she changed the locks, she couldn't get back in.
Coming up.
Were you paying money, though, out of your own pocket for the rent, or were you giving it directly to him?
To him.
Okay. Did you bring any proof of that?
No, it was $9.35 like every month. I was
worse.
I know.
Okay. Terrible.
It's like, why would I write anything? This is the man of my life. This is like my future husband.
We're back with exes Tiffany Stevenson and Kemp Kettle, who are in court fighting over lost belongings.
So how much time did you give her to get in, to get her stuff, or did you give her any time? This is too classic for me.
I did give her time to get her stuff. What she is referring to, those 48 hours, I was away on a work trip. And so I said, I will be back in 2 days, and then you can come in and get all your things.
When did you let her in the house?
I let her in the house when I got back from my trip, 2 days later.
Why would he change the lock, knowing that I live there?
We know why he changed the lock, Miss Stevenson. We already understand that. The problem is you're not on the lease. I hate to break this to you.
I know.
So moving on, were you paying money, though, out of your own pocket for the rent, or were you giving it directly to him?
To him.
Okay. In cash or
in cash.
by?
Cash.
Even worse. Did you bring any proof of that?
No, it was $9.35 like every month. I was
worse.
I know.
Okay. Terrible.
It's like, why would I write anything? This is the man of my life. This is like my future husband.
Well,
like,
why wouldn't you pay with a
naive
check?
then.
You've got all of these online transfers. You've got Venmo. You've got Zelle. You've got
He said it was
Cash App.
easier this
You've got
way.
this.
That is not true.
was
I
easy.
never
He
said
said
that.
this
That
is
was
easier.
her idea. She wanted to pay
So
with
was
cash.
she paying part of the rent?
She did pay part of the rent, yes, for
All
that
right,
month.
so you changed the locks even though you knew you had someone, a tenant, a person, paying part of the rent. You were wrong for that. When you get to the point where you go get your things, why don't you get it?
Because I went in, I got some of our stuff, okay, that he had packed like a crazy man in a plastic bag, a trash bag. And I got it. After 2 weeks, I got found in my apartment, and I'm taking everything out. There was a whole bunch of things missing. Things that he knew that I love. He knew that I cherished them.
Coming up.
I said you have about 30 minutes.
No,
you
20.
grab your stuff, and that is not true.
20 minutes.
Would you let me talk since I sat here quietly and let you talk?
We're back with exes Tiffany Stevenson and Kemp Kettle, who are in court fighting over lost belongings.
Did you reach out to him and say some of my things are missing?
Yes, you have right there, Your Honor, on the second one, the text message that I have. It's written right there. I texted him. I said, some of my things are missing. Can you please get to me and
I'm
get some of the
unpacking.
things?
Some of my things are missing. I told you I was cleaning. I gave you a chance to pick up whatever you left, but you were ignoring my calls. Really? You're mad. He said, I told you to get them, but you didn't. That's not my fault or my problem now. You need to pay for my clothes. Mr. Kettle, how long did you give her to get her things?
She came to the house. I said, you have about 30 minutes.
No,
you
20.
grab your stuff, and that is not true.
20 minutes.
Would you let me talk since I sat here quietly and let you talk?
He did.
I'm sorry.
You had an opportunity to go and look through that house up and down to see if your things were in there, but you did not do your due diligence and look everywhere because you were upset and angry and probably acting like you are right now. So you snatched the things up, but then waited 2 weeks to see what was inside, then realized some things were missing. Then you called him back and said there are things missing, and then you said it's not my problem because I already gave you chance to look all through the house. Is that right?
At that point, Your Honor, yes. I had already given that
All I
bag.
want to hear is that.
Not fully, because he said he packed everything, all my stuff.
So, Mr. Kettle, at that point, did you look through the house anymore for anything that you felt like she said was missing?
I did, Your Honor.
Did you see anything
I
else?
did not, Your Honor.
Did you take any of her things to the Goodwill?
I took a bag that we'd already agreed was donation to the Goodwill. I did not look inside of it. The last that I checked when we decided what was going to the Goodwill, her Jordans were not in there, her jeans were not in there, whatever else she's claiming was not in there.
You dropped one bag off at the Goodwill?
I dropped one bag off at the Goodwill, Your Honor.
And you are testifying today that you did not destroy any of her other things?
Absolutely, Your Honor. That is what I'm testifying.
All right. I've heard enough. Whew. Y'all have worn me out today.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
Let me tell you something, woman to woman, and I'm just going to give you this little piece of advice. It's called I drop a dime and you pick it up if you want it. Do not ever give up a place where you live for a relationship that you do not know is going to make it or not. When you move across the country for somebody, right, and don't have your name on a lease and can easily lose access to a place, whether it's right or wrong, you should protect yourself as a woman. Do you understand me?
I do.
And look out for yourself, because there comes a time where just playing the victim is no longer going to work for you.
Your Honor,
I'm done taking testimony. I've heard it. You've repeated the same story 5 times. And the only thing you haven't told me in the last 25 minutes is that when he gave me time, I searched that whole entire house up and down for my things. Court is adjourned, judgment for the defendant.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the defendant. The plaintiff's case is dismissed.
I told you that the truth would come out and the truth would set us free. You know what? You were always doing all this behind my back, and you were telling me that I could talk and say my truth as much as possible. No one would believe me, but they did believe me.
You're ridiculous. This is ridiculous.
Melina Seville claims her dance instructor spent more time teaching her fiancé moves in the bedroom than she did on the dance floor. Adriana Gomez says she's not the one who made the first move.
All rise. Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Lauren Lake presiding.
Please be seated.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning. Good day, everyone. Good day. This is the case of Seville versus Gomez. Ms. Seville, you are suing Ms. Gomez for $1,300. You claim that you hired the defendant to prepare you and your fiance for your first dance. Oh, but instead, she stole your man.
That's correct.
What happened?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. So yes, I did hire Miss Gomez for tango lessons for my wedding. I wanted to do something special for my fiance and I, so I wanted to take dancing for our first dance. And so I hired Miss Gomez, and in midst of the training, in midst of the lessons, she ended up having an affair with my fiance, causing us to break off the wedding.
Whoa. Now that's crazy.
A little more than tango.
Yes. So, Ms. Gomez, oh, you got a little smirk too. So she's not lying.
No, she is lying.
She
has
is
it wrong.
lying?
Yeah.
What happened in your estimation, Ms. Gomez?
So she hired me to do the lessons. So we did couples lessons, and then her fiance couldn't dance very well, so she hired me to do private lessons. And I agreed. About 3 lessons in, he kissed me after he was telling me about how miserable he was in their relationship.
Wait, I thought they're getting married.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, that was their intention, right?
I didn't realize she came with additional services.
I would never do anything on purpose, and so I know she's asking me to pay. Or she wants me to pay the money, right, for the lessons.
So you accidentally fell on my
But
fiance.
I gave her those lessons.
So
I've already done the services already.
Ms. Seville, do you have the contract that you signed with Ms. Gomez?
I do
I'd like to see that. I know it didn't include kissing my man, but let's see what it did include. Preparing for their first dance at their wedding.
So that was just preparing for it. It wasn't, you know, it's a first dance kind of dance, a wedding first dance, because there's many different types of tango.
So, but if you don't know it, then you're
But
preparing for
the
it.
kind you got into was not the kind that's in this
Well, that
contract.
has nothing. So the relationship, I feel, doesn't have anything to do with the services because I did all of the dance lessons. So she
You
and her
did
fiance,
every single lesson.
Every single lesson.
Did you do? Did she do every single lesson, Miss Seville?
She did do every single lesson.
And so you believe you're owed this $1,300 because you feel like, but
right.
Inherent in this deal is not that you start an affair with my husband to be.
Correct.
But that's not
Correct.
on the
There's
contract.
a couple things. Yes,
Sorry,
the affair,
it's not
and
on the
also
contract.
in the contract it specifies my first dance, like the first, you know, partnership between a couple's first dance, and that never happened because of her.
It is a wedding first dance. It is not contingent upon you guys getting married. If that were to be the case, then I'd be sued all the time.
Well, then I wouldn't take a tango lesson if it wasn't for a specific reason with my fiance.
It is for you, yes, but you
And the
not getting
contract
married is not my
specifies-
fault.
But the contract
there was already
specifies
problems
first dance.
with their relationship.
ladies, let's make the arguments towards me because I want to understand what the experience was, but more importantly, what the contract laid out and how you feel, Miss Seville, she owes you money because your husband-to-be also participated in this.
Yes, he did.
So it's your position that her lack of professionalism is what caused you to not get to your wedding.
Well, I don't even know if they finished the full dances because on the third dance is when they started having their affair, and then she billed me for 13 classes, but I can't tell you on the one-on-one if they even took the classes
That's
or if they
not
were doing a
true.
different kind of tango.
That's absolutely not true. He kissed me on the third, and there's a confidentiality part in there. It says I cannot talk about the things that happen to anyone else, and those were private lessons with
that I paid for.
Antonio.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who paid.
Yeah.
Your
So-
Honor. I finished the lessons. That's what this money is for, is to teach them how to dance, and I did.
Coming up.
First, when I met Melina, she was amazing. She was beautiful as now. And like, since I proposed to her, the woman completely changed. I'm a man who appreciates beauty, just like yourself. You're a beautiful woman. You would understand this.
And later.
So you are here to say what? Your wife just made a little error?
She made an error based on something she thought that I would enjoy, but it shouldn't have been done that way because the building has to be white.
Back with the case of Melina Seville, who blames tango instructor Adriana Gomez for stealing her fiance.
Does anyone have any evidence that shows me that the lessons were finished?
No, I just have an invoice that she billed me for, and I paid assuming that.
And you paid her in full? You
I
did.
paid her in full.
May I see that, please?
This is also on the contract that says I will invoice at the end. I finished a month early.
And please, Your Honor, know that I did not know of the affair until much later. So I paid her, assuming that she was professional. She did give these lessons, and so I paid her.
How did you learn of the affair?
So about 1 month before my wedding, my fiance came to me and said he's having second thoughts. He wasn't sure, and that he, wanted his ring back and he wanted to break off the engagement. A few months later, I run into Ms. Gomez and Antonio at a cafe holding hands. And
she freaked
Oh, they became a full-on couple.
Yes, and I did not know this while we were taking the classes.
But no, it wasn't while we were taking the classes. It was at the end. We were finished.
Correct.
And
I don't know if the
are you
classes happened.
admitting, Ms. Gomez, that you actually started a full-fledged relationship with her fiance?
It was one kiss on the third, and then we started spending more time together. Now he is my boyfriend, but during the time, I mean, it's kind of irrelevant to me because everything was done on my end. She hired me to teach dance, and that's what I did.
I still don't have proof from either one of you that you finished the lessons.
So what you'll see in the contract is that I bill.
It shows that they've been paid.
But it says that I don't give the invoice until all lessons are finished.
And she finished a month before they were due, so I have no proof that they were finished.
All I see on this receipt is 8 classes at $100 each, totaling $800, and the private lessons 5 at $100 each, totaling $500.
Yes, ma'am.
Matter of fact, they're billed in bulk. It's a whole bill for $1,300. It's not billed individually.
No, because we agreed on that, and that's what we agreed upon was the contract that you see, and we have it signed. But the invoice was what I have to give her at the end of the last lesson. So that was.
So one
his
of you
last
brought a witness. That's not. This is not what this shows. This is not what this shows. It may be what you think you did, but this is not what this shows. So one of you brought a witness. Who brought a witness? Ms. Gomez.
Yeah.
Which witness did you bring? Who is your witness?
Antonio. So he's her previous fiance and my boyfriend.
Oh, isn't this great? Sean, please escort Mr. Antonio in.
Right here.
So you are Ms. Seville's former fiance.
Yes, Your Honor.
And after taking dance classes to prepare for your first dance with Ms. Gomez, you somehow end up in an entanglement with Ms. Gomez? How did this happen?
So first, when I met Melina, she was amazing. She was beautiful as now. And like, since I proposed to her, the woman completely changed. I'm a man who appreciates beauty, just like yourself. You're a beautiful woman. You would understand this. And when I approached her, she was that fun, beautiful woman and everything. But after,
you are just taking the long way to the truth.
So,
did you or did you not go to dance class that was paid for by your former fiance and then decide to kiss the dance instructor who's standing to your right?
to be honest,
that's a yes or no.
It's not the way you say it, but yes, of course, I am in a relationship with her now after I just realized that I cannot complete my life with Melina.
Did you actually take all of the lessons that Miss Seville paid for?
Yes, that's why I don't think she should sue her, because she did whatever she had to do.
Okay,
Our personal problem is different.
So therefore, there is testimony that indicates that you did in fact have all of the lessons.
Yes, indeed.
Now, technically, under the law, you paid for a service, she gave the service. You know, in the contract, there's nothing that says that if I'm marrying a jerk, a cheater, a loser, a person that can't keep his pants up, you know, that I get my money back. Is that correct? You understand that?
But it says first dance.
No,
and that never reached that.
I was just about to say that. And nothing in that contract covers you from making it to your first dance. So truthfully, you really do not have a basis to collect. However, because this court is about fairness and equity, I do not believe you can take a woman's money and take her man and have absolutely no responsibility in this process, Ms. Gomez. It is the decision of this court that you were all the way out of pocket. And for that reason, you need to return the money this woman spent. Judgment for the plaintiff for $1,300.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant owes $1,300.
Maybe on your website you should put I offer additional services.
Yeah,
for
you know
married
what?
people.
I did exactly what
No,
what you paid
didn't.
for.
You did more than exactly
and you know
what
what?
you should have.
You should be mad at him, not me.
I'm mad at you.
I didn't kiss him.
You took my money.
Nope, because I
kissed
taught
back.
how
You
to
didn't take
dance.
one person.
How do
You
know
may
if I
now
kissed
exit
back?
the courtroom.
You
You kissed back.
You were not there.
Coming up,
My wife signed off on it, and it was not with my approval, but she signed off on it, so I'm here to correct that and show that that was not approved for her to have that on the wall when she moved out.
Sofia Rivera claims that when she moved out of her apartment, her ex-landlords relocated her deposit into their pockets. Henry and Nora Campbell say Ms. Rivera left behind a mural defacing the property.
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
This is the case of Rivera versus Campbell. Ms. Rivera, you are suing Mr. and Mrs. Campbell, the co-defendants, for $1,600. You say it's for failure to return your security deposit. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
All right, let's start from the beginning, Ms. Rivera. So you rented a place from Mr. and Mrs. Campbell.
That is correct, Your Honor. I rented a studio apartment for the last 3 years in Manhattan from them, the Campbells. When things started getting a little rough and tight, I decided that I needed to move out, and I moved in with my boyfriend, Roman, to New Jersey.
And you finished your lease term? You didn't break your lease?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Why did you, Mr. and Mrs. Campbell, retain some of the security deposit? What damage was done to the unit?
Well, in our lease agreement, which, may I give that to you, Your Honor?
Absolutely. May I see that, Sean?
Yes. Our lease agreement specifically states
Thank you.
that you cannot deface the property. You have to leave it as it was when you came in. She left the mural, and the agreement specifically says that the wall has to be white when she leaves the residence.
How is it that she was able to move out and get checked out and still have the mural up?
Well, my wife, who will do walkthroughs when I'm not available, which happened during this time, I was unavailable showing another tenant, and my wife signed off on it, and it was not with my approval, but she signed off on it, so I'm here to correct that and show that that was not approved for her to have that on the wall when she moved out.
Coming up.
When Ms. Campbell signed off on it, what were you thinking?
I was thinking I was leaving a nice gift and a nice way to sprucing up the building.
We're back with the case of Sofia Rivera, who is fighting with Henry and Nora Campbell over her security deposit.
Ms. Campbell, you went in and did the walkthrough.
Yes, that's correct.
And you signed off.
Yes.
So you must have thought that was a beautiful mural?
Absolutely. My husband is really uptight and very stern. So I'm like, you know what? A mural looks beautiful in the apartment.
Does anybody have a picture of the mural?
I have a picture. May I give that to you, Your Honor?
I'm sorry?
I have a picture, and I also have a picture of what it should look like and what it looked like after I had it fixed.
It looks gorgeous to me.
It's ugly.
All right. Be nice.
All right, so this is before and after. This is the mural you painted, Ms. Rivera?
Yes, Your Honor, that is. And I also have, if I may submit, the signed contract of the walkthrough, where I did the walkthrough with Ms.
I'd like to see that. And then after she left, you had to have that painted.
Yes.
Yes, and my handyman was unavailable, so I had to go get outside help, which I had to pay $1,600 in order for them to strip it, prime it, sand it, and repaint it. And I gave her back $250.
One wall?
One wall.
So you are here to say what? Your wife just made a little error?
She made an error based on something she thought that I would enjoy, but it shouldn't have been done that way because the building has to be white.
All right. You have a witness with you.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to hear from him, please.
This is my boyfriend, Roman.
Please stand up, sir.
Thank
State
you,
your
Your
name for the court.
My name is Roman Bearings.
Mr. Bearings, what did you hear about or see firsthand about the security deposit?
While she was teaching me how to glass walk, she was bringing about how she was a little upset about that she didn't get her full deposit back because of the mural, even though her friend signed off on it and wanted her to do more. It made her feel so good, and then when she didn't get it back and only got a check for $200, she was distraught.
Judge Lake's verdict when We the People returns.
So all you got back from your security deposit is $250, and I saw you submitted this check to the court. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
Were you aware that the lease said that you needed to paint the walls back white?
I was aware.
And so when Ms. Campbell signed off on it, what were you thinking?
I was thinking I was leaving a nice gift and a nice way to sprucing up the building and to bring good energy for the future tenant as well as Ms. Campbell.
You asked?
Yes, ma'am.
May I leave this?
Yes, Your Honor.
And her response was yes, and I also see on the checks out list it says approved.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, Mr. Henry, you are going to be responsible for returning the remainder of Ms. Rivera's security deposit because at the end of the day, your wife made a decision on your behalf with your permission to make decisions. Is this clear?
Yes, Your Honor.
Judgment for the plaintiff for $1,600. Court is adjourned.
Judge Lake has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The co-defendants owe $1,600.
Hopefully we can still keep in contact, Sophia.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, well, she's got jokes today, don't she?
No, it's not a joke. She's being serious.
You may now exit the courtroom.